action, here's the voice of the Crimson Tide, Paul Kennedy.
Welcome to sold-out Legion Field in Birmingham, and welcome to the SEC Today. This afternoon, two of the greatest names in the history of college football meet in one of football's most storied stadiums. Here in the football capital of the South today, it's the Crimson Tide of Alabama, ranked second in the nation, hosting the Fighting Irish from Notre Dame. It's only the fifth meeting in history between the legendary institutions of Notre Dame and Alabama, these two that have given us Rockne and the Bear. And today offers still another chapter of excitement with these two fine teams. Around the SEC today, there's Ole Miss and Georgia meeting in Athens. They're in the second half, and it's Georgia 14, Ole Miss 10 with the Bulldogs driving. 18th-rated LSU battles in Florida Field at this moment against the struggling Florida Gators, and it's LSU 14-10 over homestanding Florida. They're in the second quarter. And the third of three early games in the Eastern time zone, we find Texas El Paso facing Tennessee in Knoxville. The score there, Tennessee 13, UTEP nothing. That is in the third quarter. Seventh-rated Auburn kicked off against 1AA power Western Carolina about 45 minutes ago, or about 15 minutes ago. We do not have a score at this point. There are three evening games involving SEC teams, with Kentucky hosting Southern Miss, red-hot Mississippi State facing Memphis State in Liberty Bowl Stadium, and Steve Sloan returns to the site of his first head coaching job and some of his finest coaching memories as he leads Duke into battle against Vanderbilt in Nashville. Get set for an afternoon of outstanding college football. In Legion Field this afternoon, Ray Perkins hopes to become the first Alabama head coach to lead the Crimson Tide to victory over Notre Dame. Alabama's 4 losses during the last 13 years to the Irish have each been decided by a touchdown or less. Coach Perkins even went to the Notre Dame campus last week, scouting the Irish and hoping to make that Irish luck stop right here today. He could almost hear the echoes of Gipp and Hanratty and Theismann as he walked about the South Bend campus.
I was very impressed. I was impressed with us. The first time I've ever been to South Bend, and I was very impressed with their campus and their school, and most of all their football team. That's what I went there to see, and I'm very impressed with the people that they have. They've got 33 seniors. They're big. They're a big football team up front on both sides of the ball. They've got good speed at their skill positions. They've got some young skill positions, running backs, and they've got veteran quarterbacks.
Alabama is 4-0. Notre Dame a deceiving 1-2, having lost to 4th-rated Michigan by only a single point and a 17th-rated Michigan State by 5. Veteran coach Lou Holtz, himself trying to avoid becoming the first Notre Dame coach to be beaten by Alabama, finds the keys to Alabama's success this year readily apparent.
Alabama's success is certainly indicative of your ability to run the football. I know when Coach Perkins first came there, they threw the ball an awful lot. But now they're more of a ball control and play great defense. I think most teams that are real outstanding in the country have this philosophy, at least those that win year in and year out, with a few exceptions. We feel that we must establish a running game, and not only that, it helps you defensively.
Lou Holtz has been stating all week that this year's Alabama team impresses him more than did the 1979 National Championship squad, which crushed an Arkansas team coached by Holtz that game in the Sugar Bowl. While many fans, yours truly included, have a hard time totally accepting that, it is true that this collection of Crimson Tide athletes has chemistry. They play well together. They're overachievers. Look at the fact that Alabama hasn't lost in its last 10 outings. It's 9-0-1 with a pair of wins over Auburn during that streak and victories over Florida 2 weeks ago. The win over Southern Cal in the Aloha Bowl, and Ohio State on opening day this year included in this string. Alabama has won 15 of its last 18 games under Ray Perkins. And even though Notre Dame is undergoing a transition period, and even though it struggled both last year and at the start of this year, the opponent today for Alabama is still Notre Dame. Coach Ray Perkins, that really excites you.
They're a football team that's kind of searching and looking for themselves right now. They've got a new coach, a new staff, but they've got fine athletes. At every position, they've got fine athletes, and it's just a matter of the staff and the players all coming together at one time. And they came a long way Saturday against Purdue in doing just that.
Pre-game festivities continue live from Legion Field in 1 minute following this timeout from your local station. You're listening to the Alabama Football Network.
The Crimson Tide Today. An inside look at today's game. The Crimson Tide Today, featuring the thoughts and comments of Alabama head football coach Ray Perkins. Now with a look at today's action, here's the voice of the Crimson Tide, Paul Kennedy.
Legion Field is baking this afternoon under a warm October sun. Hopefully, Alabama will be more accustomed to this climate. It should be, as the second-ranked Crimson Tide hosts the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame for only the 5th meeting between the two schools in history. Unbeaten Alabama seeks its 5th victory of the season. Notre Dame is hoping for its 2nd win in as many weeks after a pair of season-opening losses. Our pregame interview with Tide coach Ray Perkins is on board next as he discusses how much this game means to himself and to his team this afternoon. Back in 1 minute. Welcome to the Alabama Football Network. Coach Ray Perkins, this Alabama team has an opportunity to do something no other Alabama team has done before, and that's to beat Notre Dame. What a challenge we have before us today in Legion Field.
Well, Paul, it's a challenge for our football team for a lot of different reasons. I think the most important one has to be it's the next step in a direction that we set out to go before the season ever started, and that in itself makes it a big game for us, and most importantly that. But when you throw a little additives in, like you mentioned, it's something that no other Alabama team has ever done. I think that's a lot special to our team. I think it's a little more special to our seniors because it will be the only chance that they have to accomplish something that no other Alabama team has done. And there's very few things that you can think of that no other Alabama team has not done. So I think that makes it special. But the main thing is that it's the next game. Notre Dame is coming off of a big win over their cross-state rival Purdue. That has to give them a little bit of a shot in the arm from a confidence factor standpoint. And, they're just a team that's going through a transition period. And at some point in time, they're going to come together and be a very fine football team. So we had to prepare and try to get that across to our players this week. I think we've had good work. We've had good preparation. I think the players have concentrated well and realize the fact that Notre Dame is potentially a very fine football team. And that's exactly what they are. They're big. They've got real good skill positions, and most importantly, they've got the key position is playing real well for them. Berline and Andrzak, their quarterbacks, they've got real good experience there, and they're just playing real good football for them. So that's a big key. And I don't think there's any question but what this will be the biggest test that our defensive team has seen all year. And to a great degree, it'll be the biggest test their offense has seen all year simply because of how big they are and how many looks they give and the athletes that they're giving them with. So it's going to be a tough football game for us, and it's going to be a 60-minute game, I think. I think it'll be a good physical battle. And I would say that this game, the team that wins is going to be the team that out-hits the other team and makes the fewest number of mistakes. I think those two factors are going to loom to be very big.
Physically, you've had 2 weeks to get ready for this game after the, perhaps equally physical meeting with Florida 2 weeks ago in Gainesville.
Well, we haven't had 2 weeks to get ready for this game. We've had 2 weeks, but we only started preparing for this game on Monday. Just like any other game, we got a few things accomplished during that off week. Namely getting a few players on a little more healthy basis, but still we're going to have some players out of the game today. Gene Jelks will not dress, Anthony Smith will not dress, Wade Whetstone will not dress. So we're without those 3 players. Just want to try to get them well and all three of them have ankle problems. So, we're more healthy going into this game than we were going into the Florida game. So that week served a good purpose in that respect. We got to do some things with some of our players a couple of days that we don't normally have an opportunity to do, work on some basic fundamentals of football, and also evaluate in all three phases what we've done over the 4 games, where we were, evaluate our people individually, do some things that you really don't have time to do when you get ready for ball games week in and week out, so that it can give us some kind of an indication of some of the things that we need to work on and stress a little bit more to hopefully get better as a football team week by week.
More with Coach Perkins following this 60-second network timeout on the Alabama Football Network. Coach Perkins, we mentioned Hanratty and, of course, Montana, Joe Theismann, the great Notre Dame quarterbacks. But the fellow we see today in Steve Berline is their all-time leading passer.
Well, I think it's he's been caught up in a situation where he has not gotten the credit that probably he deserves because they haven't been winning. And the last 3 years, they haven't won that many games. You know, when you win 5 games or when you win 6 games, that tends to cover up some of the really great players on your team. And they don't get the recognition quite that they deserve. And I think that's the case with Steve Berline. But I think he's every bit as good as those other guys that you mentioned. And he's proved it. He's proved it simply because he's passed them in the statistics category and holding as many records as he holds. So, that's proof enough for me, and I'm certain that it's proof enough for anybody else in the football world that's directly related to football. But he's a real fine player, and he's the key to their football team. He's not just the key to their offense, but he's the key to their football team, and hopefully we can contain him today. But there's a lot of other keys, Brown and Green and those guys, but he's the one that makes it tick. He's the one that's got to hand it off, or he's the one that's got to check off at the line, or he's the one that's got to throw it to them down the field. But Steve Berline is a very fine player.
We'll return to Legion Field in 1 minute following this message from your local station on the Alabama Football Network. Coach Ray Perkins, your fine nose tackle, and Kurt Jarvis said if he'd have gone to Notre Dame, he'd probably be on the scout team. He's so small. Some huge interior linemen for the Irish today.
Well, their linemen are not just huge from a size or weight standpoint. They're huge from a height standpoint. They've got 6'4", for example. They've got 16 offensive linemen. Only 3 of those are under 6'5". 3 of those are 6'4". 1 of them is 6'5". The rest of them are 6'6", 6'7", and 6'8". So, and Kurt Jarvis being at 6'2", 6'1 and a half, 6'2", I can understand him saying that. But I can assure you he wouldn't be on those scout team because Kurt Jarvis is a great football player, and he's been doing a great job for us this year through 4 games of not just playing, but great senior leadership on top of that.
On the offensive side of the football, we've been to war before, and you have the fine talents of Mike Shula to lead you there. What will Shula and company have to do in order for Alabama to win this game?
Well, I think for us to win the game, it's not just the Mike Shulas or the Bells or the Humphreys. I think this game is going to be won in the trenches, just like the Florida game. And I think that our defensive front 7 is going to be put to a test, and I think our offensive line is going to be put to a test. Our offensive line rose to the occasion in a great fashion in Florida, and our defense played great down there. But this game, I think a great degree of this game's outcome is going to depend on how well we play in the trenches. Our big guys against the big guys, and really most games you can say that, because a running back is not going to run very far unless you give him a hole to start in by blocking. A linebacker or defensive lineman is not going to make a tackle unless you keep the lineman off the linebackers or play off the blocks and neutralize the blocker at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to break up passes, or you're not going to keep them from completing passes unless you get some kind of pressure on a quarterback from your front 7. So you just go on and on and on. But most of that is related to the front 7 defensively, or your front 5 or 6 people that are involved in your blocking process in your offensive line. So I think that's the thing. I think think we're going to have to play real tough defense, and offensively, we're going to have to play a mistake-free ball game and not turn the football over. I think if we can do those two things and play a good sound kicking game, I think we'll be all right. But we can't hope to come out of it successfully, I don't think, if we make some of the mistakes and turn the ball over like we have in the first 4 ball games.
Coach, this seems to be the kind of game, or one of the reasons you're in college football. A sold-out stadium. Alabama ranks second in the nation. You're playing Notre Dame, and Birmingham is in an absolute frenzy, and it would mean so much to the Alabama people to win this thing. It really is, for the 5th game of the season, very, very special.
Well, this is the kind of game that you work all your life for. And, as our players and their players, they've practiced through high school and through the first 3 or 4 years or 2 years of what they are in school now, freshmen, juniors, sophomores, or whatnot. And this is the kind of game that you work for. This is what you've sweated so much for. This is what you've run so many miles for. This is what you've been in those meetings for. And this is what you've taken all that hollering from the coaches for. All the things that go along with preparing to play football and play the games and all the things that goes into trying to improve to get yourself to a level to play in a game like this. This is what it's all about, the Notre Dame game, these type games. And I tell you, it's a big thrill for me. It's a great honor for me, and I can guarantee you that it's a great honor for our players, and they look very much forward to this game because this is what college football is all about. To me, it's what football is all about.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck this afternoon. Thank you. We'll return to Legion Field in 1 minute following this message from your local station along the Alabama Football Network.
It's time for the action and excitement of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide football with Paul Kennedy.
Shula, play action, looking to throw over the middle. Bell again at the 40.
Doug Layton.
That's what's going to happen when the passes start working for you.
And Jerry Duncan.
Kurt Jarvis is just a fool. Two of them on him, and he's still back in the backfield.
Crimson Tide football. Brought to you by Texaco, State Farm Insurance, Budweiser and Bud Light, Delta Airlines, and Snapper Lawn Care Products. Now live from the stadium, the voice of the Crimson Tide, Paul Kennedy.
Well, roll tide. Good afternoon and hello again, everyone, and welcome to sold out and jam-filled Legion Field in Birmingham, the football capital of the South. This afternoon, it's the football capital of America, as Notre Dame, with a win and a pair of losses, comes to town to face the number 2 team in the nation, and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Only the 5th meeting ever between these two schools, and Notre Dame has won all 4 previous pairings. You recall the 73 Sugar Bowl, the 75 Orange Bowl, the 3-point loss that Alabama suffered in 76, and the 7-0 shutout here in 1980. For Coach Ray Perkins, a man deprived way back 20 years ago in 1966 as a player of a national championship when Notre Dame was number 1, despite the fact that Alabama was unbeaten and untied. That has stuck in his craw for 2 decades. Ray Perkins is ready for this game. The Crimson Tide players are ready for this game. Yours truly, Paul Kennedy, along with Doug Layton sitting to my right. Doug, we're pumped up too and ready to go.
Well, my ankles are taped. I've got my game face on, and I'm ready for this football game.
The $1 Million Band down on the field, as is Jerry Duncan. Jerry, the weather now at 90 degrees, the humidity at 51%. Joe Kynes probably wants it to be about 10 degrees hotter and try to bake our visitors from South Bend.
Well, I'm sure that's one thing that the coaches would like to have, although we do have a good breeze blowing, Paul, and I think maybe it's cooled off a little bit. I don't know if we're supposed to get into the low 90s. I don't know if it's going to make it or not, but one other thing, to put everything to rest right now about Gene Jelks. Gene Jelks will not play today. He is dressed out in street clothes on the sideline.
Alabama has a couple of bumps and bruises. Nicks, as you Coach Ray Perkins, you've heard him say so many times, yet depth being a factor, Doug. On a warm day like today, Alabama's pretty deep at running back where Jelks plays and at linebacker where we don't have the services of a Derek Thomas. And in this heat, that has to work to Alabama's advantage.
You're absolutely correct. Notre Dame brought only 68 players with them and have not been playing many players at all this year. But, of course, under the new coach, Lou Holtz, that's been the scheme of things. So on a day like today, with the temperature in the low 90s and the humidity extremely high, it could start wearing them thin. You know, speaking of records and all of this, these two teams, greatly steeped in tradition, they're the only two teams in America that the late, great Paul Bear Bryant played with regularity and never beat, Notre Dame and Alabama.
We'll return to Legion Field following this 90-second network timeout. You're listening to the Alabama Football Network. Ray Perkins can earn his 27th victory as the head coach at his alma mater this afternoon. And Doug, again, Alabama in its last 10 games, a record of 9 wins, no losses in a single time.
That's very impressive. Of course, Alabama, very fine coach football team, and they're starting to gel. Notre Dame on the other side of the coin has some tremendous athletes, but have not come together as a team yet. That's due to the fact that they've got a new coaching staff. Everything is completely new. They have not won on the road, though, for almost 2 years, and this will be a supreme test for Notre Dame, and they feel if they can beat Alabama down here, it'll be the first big step back to where Notre Dame feels they should be. Here comes Alabama.
What a sight to see. Crimson and white in frenzy as kickoff nears. Alabama today in its home crimson headgear and jerseys and the white game pants. And Notre Dame, they've gone back to the black shoes, Doug, and the traditional NFL black socks, if you will. More of a pro look. The gold helmets, of course, the gold game pants, and the white jersey.
But, of course, Lou Holtz coming back in. He's trying to bring the thunder back down by getting all that used to be back on Notre Dame again. That is the black shoes and the black stockings. But on a day like today, they may wind up with only hot feet.
The captains today for Alabama, Ray Perkins, and an indication of how much this game means to him, Jerry Duncan. He has selected the entire Alabama senior class, the seniors, to represent the Tide team at the toss of the coin.
That's exactly right. They're all lined up along the sidelines, both Alabama and Notre Dame. I'm standing in the middle of the field with the officials, and I think, Paul, it's going to be about 2 minutes before they come out for the toss of the coin.
Representing Notre Dame is the senior linebacker in Mike Kovaleski from Newcastle, Indiana, 6'2", 218, a fellow who has recorded 256 career tackles, Doug. He is only the second permanent team captain ever elected prior to the start of a season in Notre Dame history. The other, back in the 60s, was Rocky Blyers.
We just got a report that the field temperature is 112 degrees because you've got a 90-degree temperature, then you're on that artificial turf, and the base of it is asphalt, of course, and it gets awfully hot at about 4 or 5 feet above it. 112 degrees right on it right now, and like Jerry Duncan says, it'll be another 60 seconds or so before the toss of the coin to get this ball game underway. Have you ever seen such hype for a football game before?
Only the 5th game of the season, and one of these two teams is unranked. That Notre Dame, that shakes down the echoes of the thunder, Doug, anywhere and everywhere that the Fighting Irish play.
This is, without a doubt, the school that has the greatest tradition, college football tradition, in the country, and you can just tell it by here in Alabama. Everybody has been talking about, boy, are we ready to play Notre Dame, and what are we going to do with Notre Dame? Well, we're going to find out in a little while, and maybe we can shake some thunder ourselves, but it'll be hard to do on these nice little fluffy white clouds that are above us.
We pause 10 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves. You're listening to the Alabama Football Network.
defensively, you don't like to see this happen to you. You're going against a team like Notre Dame. 2nd down and 9 again. You like to pick up 4 or 5 yards on that first down. Then you can you can keep the defense guessing. Right now, Notre Dame can come again.
Humphrey enters this game with 300 yards. Net rushing in this his sophomore season. 2nd and 9 for the Tide. At the 31, Shula. Loose ball. Notre Dame may have the football. No, Alabama has the football at the 27 as Robert Banks, the left defensive tackle, just missed recovering a fumble in Alabama's offensive backfield. They tried to run the draw to Kerry Good, and it was a muffed handoff, Doug.
It looked like he might have been thinking of that little shovel Utah-type pass, but no, the official ruled it a fumble, and indeed it was the draw. So Alabama now faced with 3rd and 13 at their own 27. Big play coming up, and you can bet the Irish will be coming.
Well, it's Bell left, Richardson right. Still Humphrey and Good set behind Shula. 3rd and 13, and here goes Mike to throw for the first time. Halftime, flares it out of the backfield and overshoots Kerry Good, and probably intended to do just that, for Good was well covered in the near right flat. Alabama will punt. It was Troy Wilson coming up quickly for the Irish.
Well, the Notre Dame defense has got to feel a bit inspired because they have stopped Alabama after only 5 snaps, forcing them into a punt. They'll get their hands on the ball for the first time, and Burline will have that wind at his back.
More to punt. He's averaging 41 yards a kick this year. He'll hit it inside his 15. Twin safeties for Notre Dame, and Moore hangs it. Oh, did he nail this one into the wind? A very high punt. It's Milt Jackson. It hits at the 10, bounds into the end zone. He didn't touch it, and it will be brought out to the 20. That is a 73-yard punt. Chris Moore's career best. What a kick.
Incredible punt by Chris Moore.
Notre Dame with Steve Burline just now arriving at the huddle, and there's timeout on the field. No score. We're in the first quarter. Back following this 60-second network message. This is the Alabama Football Network. The all-time leading passer in Notre Dame history. It's Steve Burline bringing the Irish up to the 20-yard line. Notre Dame's first play of the afternoon, and they'll give it to the tailback, and he has a hole and a first down and more across the 30 and up to the 35-yard line. Sophomore Mark Green, a gaping hole behind his left guard, and Tom Freeman, a 15-yard pickup. Douglas?
It looked like Alabama expected Burline to throw on first down, and as a consequence, that middle opened up beautifully on the trap, and he busted loose for a first down on the very first play.
Notre Dame's leading rusher with 160 yards in 3 previous games thus far this year. Triple backfield, an eye set for the Irish, very multiple, and they'll give it to him. Oh no, this is Tim Brown again, dancing to the outside for a pair. The junior flanker, who at times lines up in the backfield, at times at a wing-back position. Lou Holtz is intent this year, Doug, on getting Tim Brown the ball as many times as he can.
Well, he's a tremendous runner, and you couldn't blame a coach for doing that. Alabama, we may see Kurt Jarvis at tackle some today, trying to fill in for some injured folks there. He was the one that really stopped that play that time.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7, no score, 11-12 showing on the first quarter clock. I formation, and they'll ride the belly to the fullback and Pernell Taylor. And he stopped Jerry Duncan after picking up a yard.
Well, one thing Alabama's already doing, Paul, Cornelius Bennett, that particular play was moved to the middle linebacker position. He was head up center. He lined up in his original position, head up the tight end, but as Burline came to the line and started to play, he moved in. You might keep an eye for that from upstairs.
Absolutely. A senior nose guard, Kurt Jarvis, involved in the stop as well. It is 3rd and 4 for Notre Dame, and it's 41-yard line, and Burline, play action, dumps it out of the backfield, and Green, having trouble finding the handle, stumbles as he comes across the 40-yard line and falls shy of the 45, the point he needed to reach to earn a first down. And on 4th down, Notre Dame will punt. Had he not stumbled there, Doug, he probably would have picked up the first.
You're right. The pass was thrown a little behind him. He had to concentrate on that. He also had an Alabama defender coming up to concentrate on too. And as a consequence, he stumbled a bit, didn't make the first down. Good defensive play, and Notre Dame punts.
Senior Dan Sorensen facing a 10-man rush will try to get it away, and he just does so. They may have gotten a piece of it. Richardson will let it hit at the 15, and this will cost Alabama some precious yardage. It will be downed inside the 10. Oh, down at the 7-yard line. It's a punt of 48 yards that was very nearly blocked by sophomore George Bethune.
Obviously, Alabama thinks they can get to the Notre Dame kicker and almost did so then. And even if they didn't, he'll remember it the next time he has to punt. I think we've got a timeout.
With 9:44 remaining in the first quarter. Scoreless ball game. We'll be back in 1 minute following this network message. You're listening to the Alabama. The punters as pumped up as anybody else. Chris Moore of Alabama with a 73-yard kick, and there's Sorensen of Notre Dame with a 48-yarder. Alabama's second possession, and the Tide must start at its 8-yard line. It is Shula with Alabama in the eye, no score, and he gives it to the second man through. Humphrey, he breaks the tackle and comes across the 15-yard line up to the 17. Brandy Wells, a fine, strong safety, along with the left corner, Troy Wilson, teamed on the tackle. A gain of 9, setting up 2nd and 1.
Now, this is what you want. You want a big first down play, and then you can keep the defense guessing. Alabama has yet to challenge the outside. You can bet that Notre Dame had anticipated Alabama with its speed would attempt to turn the corner on them.
And the speed that you mentioned, a big key in today's game as slot left formation. Bell, the flanker, set to the far left side. Now coming in motion, Humphrey to the near right side, and Shula turns. They'll run the bread and butter toss sweep to Good. Good has the first down. He cracks across the 20. He's up to the 24. Alabama's favorite play, Jerry Duncan, the toss sweep to the tailback.
That's exactly right, and it worked perfection. They ran it into the short side of the field, which means Notre Dame had rotated to the strong side and picked up the first down.
Marv Spence, the quarterback, a senior, along with classmate Dave Butler, that outside linebacker, on the tackle there. 1st and 10, no score. Midway through the first quarter. The ball spotted on the near right hash. And between the 23 and the 24. I formation. Shula will sweep the left side. Now Humphrey in trouble. He'll be dropped for a loss as he tried to cut it back in. Wally Klein, Doug, all 6 feet 9 inches of him from Midland, Texas. So just engulfed Bobby Humphrey.
Not only 6'9", he weighs about 280 pounds. He got through that Alabama offensive wall somehow and cut off all routes of escape and dropped Humphrey for a loss. And again, Alabama confronted with that very tough 2nd and long situation.
2nd and a dozen. Again, Richardson and Bell go wide left. The backs, Good and Humphrey, split behind Shula. Again, Humphrey coming in motion. Mike takes the snap. Oh, shovel pass. Good. A hole across the 25 and up to the 30, and down he goes. Wes Pritchett, an inside linebacker, along with Dave Butler on the tackle. I thought he was off and running when he took in that Utah pass.
It's not a play that surprises Alabama's opponents because they've run it quite frequently, but you just never know when the Tide will run it. Good yardage that time, but still it's 3rd and 4 right now.
Well, they made up 8 of them. That's the first completion of the afternoon for Shula, and Bo Wright is in the game now, replacing Good. Man in motion, Bell, Shula to throw. Here comes the blitz. He's lofting it downfield, and he overshoots Richardson at midfield, who is very, very well covered by Steve Lawrence. And the free safety, and Alabama will have to give up the football again.
He passed that right into double coverage. Good thing he did overthrow, otherwise it might have been intercepted.
I wonder if Steve Lawrence's girlfriend is named Edie.
I understand that's the case.
He's from Ypsilanti, Michigan. Here's Troy Wilson, alone by himself as Notre Dame will rush 10 against this punt by Moore. Here they come, and he gets it away and hangs it high a second time. Wilson at his 28. Cuts left, comes back right, and whoa, down he goes. 5 Crimson Tiders on top of him. The first to arrive is reserve linebacker Willie Shepard. 7 minutes to go in period number 1. Timeout on the field, still no score. Back following the 60-second word from your local station along the Alabama Football Network. A scoreless ball game was 7 minutes and a single second remaining in period number 1. Alabama and Notre Dame meeting here in Legion Field.
Some scores of other games being played this afternoon. Tennessee in the second leads the University of Texas El Paso 13-0. Georgia on top of Ole Miss 14-10. That's the final score there. Georgia Tech trails North Carolina 21-20. Nebraska over South Carolina at halftime, 13-7. And Wake Forest is over Virginia, 21-17 in the fourth. Here, no score as Notre Dame breaks huddle.
Here is Berline, the senior quarterback in his 33rd career start. A guy who's thrown for more than 5,000 yards in his 4-year career at Notre Dame. Play action and boom, down he goes. Cornelius Bennett, loose ball, no, the trip caused the fumble. Oh my goodness, did Cornelius Bennett bury him at the 25-yard line? Berline never saw Cornelius Bennett. He was coming from the blind side, and as Berline turned toward Bennett in an attempt to throw the football, Bennett absolutely unloaded on him. And Berline may be shaken up. Let's see, Terry Andrzak, the reserve quarterback, started onto the field, and Berline looks to be okay. He's wearing a flak jacket, and that may have saved him there. He never saw Cornelius Bennett.
It may have saved his life. Notre Dame is in danger of being penalized for delay.
A loss of 8. That one goes in the archives at Alabama. 2nd and 18. Notre Dame at its 25, and Berline now backing into the shotgun. Get away from that line of scrimmage. Utah pass, shuffle pass, Braxton Banks, and he has nowhere to go. Braxton Banks, a freshman. Stopped by Joe Godwin, a senior. And Alabama's defensive unit right now, Doug, asserting itself.
Alabama's defensive unit has been the real stalwart of the two sides of the balls all year long. And they're beginning, as you say, to take control. And Notre Dame has got to be a little rattled after this series.
Chuck Lanza, the center, over the football. Johnson and Banks, the running back. On 3rd and 16, Berline from the shotgun. A heavy rush. He steps up, releases downfield. Incomplete. It is intended for the split end. Milt Jackson at the 47-yard line. He was well covered. And listen to the hand for the defense. It's rocking, Doug, in Birmingham.
Oh, and the crowd loves it.
What a hit by Cornelius Bennett.
I haven't seen anything quite like that. Cornelius coming full speed when Berline turned into him, and it was lights out.
Alabama to rush 9 against Sorensen, and he'll have plenty of time to get it away. A high hanging kick. This is Richardson at his 35. Looking for a wall on the left side. Breaks the tackle. 40, 45, midfield. Foot race. 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Alabama.
There's no flag.
A 66-yard touchdown return. Greg Richardson breaking 2 tackles, and then he brought it up the left boundary, and what a block he got at the 10-yard line, too.
It started when number 97 whacked number 7, and from that play on, Alabama has taken over this football game.
Here is Van Tiffen hunting his 109th consecutive extra point. Out of Abney's hold, Whitlock, the senior, will snap it. The spot, the kick, it's in the air. It's partially deflected, but it's over the crossbar. Good.
It was blocked, but it went over.
Timeout on the field. Alabama 7, Notre Dame nothing. Back in 1 minute. This is the Alabama Football Network. 7-0. Doug, we had talked about team speed in this game, and Richardson electrifying the crowd with a 66-yard touchdown return of Sorensen's punt.
Got a great wall put up by the by teammates, and the rush before that punt, the first punt of the ballgame, when Alabama put the rush on him, almost blocking it, they didn't rush him that time, and he seemed to be startled or something, and he did not get off a great kick. But nonetheless, the wall was there, and you saw the speed of Richardson, and that will really hurt you. The kicking game for Notre Dame completely collapsed with that 66-yard punt return by the senior Greg Richardson. And now Notre Dame will get their hands on the ball again, and Berline may go back into the shotgun.
Here is junior flanker Tim Brown standing alone inside his 5. He has about a 22-yard return average, and Tiffen lifts it quite high. This is Brown, a short kick from his 10, 15, 20, 23-yard line, and down he goes. Boy, there are red jerseys everywhere. The first one belongs to Chester Braggs, the special teams captain.
Well, the defense gets everybody fired up, and that's what we've got now. Notre Dame has got the ball again, midway between the 21 and the 22, and the defense comes back in, determined to do it again.
Now, folks, it's a very hot day here in Birmingham, and Doug, Notre Dame has not worked outside in the last 5 days. It's been raining in South Bend. That has to be a factor, too. Burline sets them in the eye. He'll turn, toss sweep for his tailback. 25 breaks the tackle, and up to the 29-yard line, freshman Anthony Johnson from South Bend, number 22. Nice gain on the toss sweep to the short side.
It was a nice gain, and it surprised me that he made the yardage because Alabama defensively on the left side had penetrated very well and just didn't get into position and set up for the tackle.
Johnson, having gained 60 yards coming into this one, that's his first carry of the afternoon. It earns him 8. Second down and 2. Again, the Irish set in the eye, about a half yard shy of the 30-yard line. It's Andrzak at quarterback now instead of Burline. It is not Burline in there. And Andrzak gives it to Johnson off the right side, and he has a tough yard. Greg Gilbert, the linebacker, makes him pay the price. So, gentlemen, Steve Burline is on the sideline with Lou Holtz.
Andrzak is a junior at 6'1", 181 pounds. He's only thrown 2 passes this year, completed one of those, and so he just has not had the experience. Burline is their leader, and without him, it remains to see what will happen to the Notre Dame offense.
There's a little confusion right now. Andrzak trying to get the play in. I'm looking for the play clock here.
6 seconds and counting.
He's going to have to hurry. First and 10 at the 32. They give it to the flanker coming around the right side, and Reggie Ward. And Reggie Ward has another first down. He brings it across the 35, ahead of the 40 and the 44-yard line. Well, Notre Dame's scissors are trapping the flanker.
Well, you see now, after those last 3 plays, Alabama reinserts its first-string defensive front in Cornelius Bennett at Hall.
Andrzak, the junior, 6'1", 181 from Michigan. He wears number 2 on his back. Clap of the hands, and here come the Irish up to the line of scrimmage. It's Rader, Freeman, lands over the football, Heffern and Spruill. That offensive line on first and 10 from the 43 out of the shotgun. Andrzak running for his life, headed this way, and takes a hit at the 45 and goes out of bounds. He ran from the far hash clear across the field, and Britton Cooper belted him out of bounds, running from the shotgun. Perhaps trying to throw on the run, but that looked to be a busted play from up here, Doug.
I think you're right. He wanted to throw, but he's being really pressured by Cliff Thomas, the nose guard, but Thomas just does not have the speed that Andrzak has, and as a consequence, he made a diving lunge at him, but just could not grasp him. Second down and about, 8, I guess?
Both Alvin Miller, along with Reggie Ward, go wide to the right side of the field. Andrzak, the deep drop, rolling right, throwing on the run, gunning for the sideline, has it complete, out of bounds, first down. Junior Reggie Ward in Alabama territory at the tied 46-yard line. Ricky Thomas and Freddie Robinson, both 3-year lettermen, veteran seniors, they were beaten on the play.
A good pass that time by Andrzak. He threw the ball where he had to avoid any kind of interference or the Alabama secondary. Good pass. It was only his 3rd pass of the year for Notre Dame. But that's got to give him a little confidence, Paul.
It has to. 7-0. Alabama leading. Notre Dame in tied territory at the 46. Triple I set. Toss sweep. This is Dumas coming to the near left side. And he is wrapped up as the play is strung out and may not have gained a yard. In fact, loses a yard as Britton Cooper makes the play. You have Ray Dumas, Reggie Ward, and Tim Brown, 3 quality flankers, Doug, shuttling plays in and out in there. Well, here comes Tim Brown back in there with the play from the sideline as Coach Lou Holtz is sending the plays to Andrzak.
Wayne Davis caused that loss a few seconds ago. On that play, he just stretched it out. Notre Dame could not get around Davis, and finally Britton Cooper came up and made the stop.
Out of the shotgun, single setback. 3 receivers out. Andrzak, quarterback draw. He's at the 45 and close to the 40-yard line. Alabama with a heavy rush, Jerry Duncan, and Andrzak Just as he caught the snap from Lanza, he took off straight down the field.
Well, it was a good play because we did have the rush on, but we had an outside rush, so he picked a little hole in there and picked up some yardage.
That's a good play call by Notre Dame because Andrew Zach, not the fastest guy in the world, but a gutty player, took a quarterback draw right up the middle, picked up good yardage, 3rd down and 4.
2 minutes, 25 seconds to go. Here comes the 8th play of this drive for the Irish. It started at their 22. Andrew Zach out of the shotgun, backpedaling at midfield, and he's going to be sacked back at the 43-yard line. Kurt Jarvis runs him down. A big loss, and Notre Dame will punt again.
You know, you made a comment, Paul. That was the 8th snap of this series, and it's true. Alabama's defense has been on the field an awful lot in this quarter. It was this kicking team that scored the only touchdown.
Al Sorensen, he has one of 48 and one of 39 today, and he'll put his foot into it at his own 35. It doesn't turn over. Richardson runs up, takes it at the 14, comes up the boundary, spins, and goes down at the 20-yard line. We pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the Alabama Football Network.
Alabama first and 10 with its own 20.
A punt of 39 yards for Sorensen. Alabama leading 7-0 over visiting Notre Dame with 90 seconds to go here in the first quarter. It is Shula at the helm. The senior from Miami Beach, 6'2", 198. Toss sweep Humphrey. A jitterbug step as he encounters trouble at the 20, and he's out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Run down by Dave Butler.
Alabama's running just basic stuff, Paul. We've seen nothing that we haven't seen time and time again. And Notre Dame has so far been able to contain the Alabama offense.
Humphrey has carried 5 times this warm afternoon for 19 yards, and Shula is 1 of 3 through the air. His only completion, a shovel pass to Guth. 2nd and 8, less than a minute to go. I formation. Mike may be checking off here. He turns, toss sweep, left side, Humphrey, and he runs into a wall. It's Wally Klein, that tackle again, along with the strong safety, Brandy Wells. He gained a yard, 3rd and long. Notre Dame has obviously worked on stopping that play in their preparation since their victory over Purdue last week.
Well, that's the play that Alabama loves to run, and it's been very good to the Tide all year long, so you're going to have to stop that to make before you can go to something else. So it's 3rd down, and you can bet Notre Dame will be coming this time.
Twin receivers to the far left side. On 3rd and 7, Alabama at its 23. Shula dropping out of the backfield. It's Humphrey, and he skips it up incomplete. Mike had time to throw. It was just poorly thrown, intended for Bobby Humphrey. And here comes the punting unit onto the field with 9 seconds left in this quarter. Just 3 and out right there. And you recall the Alabama defense was on the field for 9 snaps just a little bit ago.
And they've got to go back as Alabama must punt 4th and 7.
Moore's 2 earlier efforts were of 73 and 47 yards. The snap it is Whitlock. He'll do so from his 23. Moore standing inside the 10. Kicking into a wind, and the right footer puts his foot into it. This is not a good kick. Running up to make the fair catch at his 44-yard line is senior Troy Wilson. And the punt is of 33 yards, the shortest kick today by Moore without a return. That's the end of our first period this afternoon here in sold-out Legion Field. It's Alabama 7-0 over the visiting Fighting Irish. More return following this 60-second network message. You're listening to the Alabama Football Network. Alabama 7, Notre Dame nothing, and Jerry Dawkins, Steve Berline will return to quarterback the Fighting Irish as the second period begins.
Well, main thing, Paul, right now we're not blocking Wally Klein, the big right tackle for Notre Dame. He's the one he stopped us the last 3 plays there, and we're not getting the job done in our offensive line right now. And of course, Wally Klein's a big reason for it.
In the first quarter, Alabama with 2 first downs, Notre Dame with 3. On the ground, Notre Dame with 29 yards rushing, Bama with 24. In the air, 14 for Notre Dame, 8 for Alabama. So total yardage in the first period, Notre Dame 43 yards, Alabama 32. Time of possession about the same. Notre Dame with 7 minutes, 57 seconds. Alabama 7 minutes and 3 seconds. So it's pretty close, with Notre Dame having a slight edge in the statistics department.
Doug, listen to this lineup for Alabama. The front wall, Cliff Thomas, Derek Slaughter, and Derek Rushton. The outside linebackers, Philip Brown and Randy Rockwell. Willie Shepard and Desmond Holloman on the inside, with Robinson, Kendrick, Thomas, and Good in the secondary. The reserves are in there right now, and it's a draw for Notre Dame. Pernell Taylor, the fullback, comes across the 45 and advances it up to the 46-yard line.
And coming in to make the stop for Alabama was the outside linebacker, Philip Brown, who got in on the play as quick as anybody possibly could. Stopped him. Actually, what he got was how far he fell forward, a couple of yards.
Philip Brown is a great pass rusher. He's from Birmingham, a junior, 6'3", 206. Odd man set for Alabama. Now Notre Dame flops the tight end and Andy Heck. Second and 8 from its 46. This is Berline, a long count. Still under center. Now giving to his fullback. Gaping hole, 45, 40, 35, 33-yard line. Pernell Taylor. He saw something there, Doug. Had to check off. It took him so long. And Pernell Taylor turns it into a 20-yard gain.
Well, whatever he checked off from, too, it worked, because the Alabama defense just wasn't ready to stop that one. Big play. And Kurt Jarvis and friends comes back into the defensive lineup.
Notre Dame has had 8 separate players carry the football here in the first half. First and 10 at the Alabama 34, Notre Dame's deepest possession. They trail by a touchdown. They try to run the toss sweep to Mark Green to the Fighting Irish, and it costs them 3 as he's dropped shy of the line of scrimmage, coming around the right side again by Philip Brown.
Alabama's corners the linebackers are very, very quick, and in Brown's case, and Cornelius Bennett, not only quick, but fast as well. Very difficult to turn them in.
13:25 to go in the first half as Notre Dame comes up to the line of scrimmage. Alabama adjusting defensively. I formation for Berline at the Alabama now 37-yard line. Berline play action, stands in the pocket, releases downfield to his tight end. It's deflected, and it falls incomplete, was very nearly intercepted. Joel Williams was wide open as he released on the delay. Greg Gilbert, as it banged off Williams' shoulder pads, had a chance for the interception, Doug, and then Williams hit Gilbert just as Greg tried to catch it.
Greg Gilbert stood and waited on the pass. Had he advanced toward it and moved toward the ball, he might have made the interception. But he gave the Notre Dame receiver an opportunity to get in position to knock it away.
Berline 2 for 4 today for 5 yards, so he hasn't been able to throw any more effectively than has Shula. Notre Dame's 1 for 4, converting on third down. Berline firing to the boundary. It is broken up, incomplete at the Alabama 28-yard line. He was looking for Tim Brown, and he was under a heavy rush, too, from Kurt Jarvis, and was belted pretty good, Jerry Duncan, just as he let it go.
Oh, Kurt was just a second more, and he'd had him for a big loss. I know Kurt would like to have that one.
Even with that rush, with Jarvis getting to him, Berline still got off a pretty good pass. Could have been caught by Brown. Good defense by Alabama secondary.
He showed us after taking that hit in the first quarter from Bennett that he has some courage. Well, into punt. It is Sorensen. He is standing at his 49 and will try to angle it. Well, this is Berline punting, and he hits it off the side of his foot. It bounds at the 24, takes an Alabama bounce, and will be down at the 27-yard line.
That's the second time this year that Berline has punted. He punted once before for only 17 yards, so his average stays about intact.
Well, he has a 10-yarder there.
That's pulled his average down a bit.
If you and I tried to get out there and do it. Berline with just a deep shotgun drop, and he hasn't been working on punting too much. Timeout on the field. 12 minutes, 52 seconds to go in the first half. Alabama leading still 7-0. We'll be back in 1 minute following this network message on the Alabama Crimson Tide Football Network. Alabama with the lead and the football. First and 10 at its 27-yard line. Mike Shula with only 1 completion this afternoon, 1 for 4. For 8 yards. So obviously there, Doug, Alabama needs to sustain something offensively. Our last possession late in the first quarter was 3 downs and punt.
Well, it's sort of like the Florida game a couple of weeks ago. The offense sort of trying to feel itself, see what was working, and finally exploded later on. Let's see what happens here.
The back split behind Shula. Humphrey now comes in motion. That leaves Good behind him, and Good will get the call coming around the left side. Nowhere to go, however. And down he goes. The captain of the Fighting Irish, Mike Kovaleski, took him down.
On the right side of that Notre Dame defense that time, number 96, Wally Klein fouled the play up and sent Good scurrying back to the other side, trying to find a soft spot. He couldn't.
Senior in Klein is really making life tough for sophomore left guard Larry Rose. It's Johnson, Rose, Neighbors, Condon, and King up to the line of scrimmage on 2nd and 9. Shula with the drop, sets in the pocket. Now the release valve to Good, and it's incomplete. He threw it at his feet, skips up incomplete, intended for Good at the 24.
Shula a little tentative with his passing. He's not throwing with authority at present. And those were that one and the time before, little dump passes to his back, flaring out. Both have been underthrown.
3rd and 9. Shula 1 for 5. Richardson wide to the far right side. To the short side left comes Bell. The ball spotted on the near left hash. The line of scrimmage, the Alabama 28, the Tide leading 7-0 in the second quarter. Shula, the big drop. The left-hander sets up the screen. He's got Good. Good at the 30, down to the 32-yard line. It's Brandy Wells, the strong safety, who stops him shy of a first down. The play made 5 yards, but Alabama again is 3 downs and kick it out of there. Well, Notre Dame displaying some ability here, Doug, though down by a touchdown.
Their defense has never been in question so far in this ball game. It's been the inability of their offense to figure out the Alabama defense.
Melt Jackson and Troy Wilson, 2 seniors, stand at their 20-yard line. Moore, a low kick. Running up, this is Jackson at the 30. 35, dodges a tackler, bounces outside. Oh, they'll go down at the 38. A return, close to 8 yards after a 37-yard punt by Moore. 11 minutes and 18 seconds remaining in the first half. And again, there's timeout on the field. Alabama 7, Notre Dame nothing. 11 minutes and 18 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Alabama 7, Notre Dame nothing. Alabama with 38 yards of total offense this afternoon. Notre Dame with but 65. Greg Richardson, 66-yard punt return for a touchdown. The game's only score. Notre Dame at its 38-yard line. Following the punt, the quarterback is Andrzak, and he gives it to the first man through, and Taylor, his fullback, and he brings it across the 40-yard line and up to the 42. Lou Holtz, Doug Layton is platooning Berline and Andrzak on this warm afternoon.
Holtz will walk 100 miles on the sideline during a game. That time, Andrzak checked off thinking that there was a soft spot on the right side of the Alabama defense. There was a gap there, but it was filled quickly by Godwin.
Slot left formation on 2nd and 6 for the Irish. The tailback off the right side, and Mark Green earns a pair and then is pushed back. Green, the sophomore, meets a freshman in Derek Rushton at 6'3", 240, along with the All-American Cornelius Bennett introducing himself.
Notre Dame runs a myriad of offensive sets. We've seen already the shotgun, the split back, the single back, and we have not seen the wishbone yet. They run a lot of that. The only thing that they don't run, oddly enough, is the Notre Dame box.
They run it in Tuscaloosa Central High. Alvin Miller and Tim Brown set to the far left side. Down the line option. Andrzak keeping. He's at midfield. He has the first down. He's inside the 45 and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Ran the option, the veer to the short side of the field. First time we've seen that. It's a gain of 17 for Terry Andrzak and Notre Dame.
They run that veer, actually the option. They'll run it out of any set. And that was a split back and ran it to perfection. Andrzak picked up a big first down for Notre Dame. This drive started at their 38.
10 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Alabama leading by a touchdown. Again, a slot left formation. Andrzak gives to the first man through, and his fullback, and Taylor. And Taylor, on a gain of 6, finds a soft spot again. 2nd and 4.
Again, the option. He gave it to the first. Took his first option. The fullback dive up the middle. Picked up good yardage for Notre Dame.
Anthony Johnson, a freshman, Back in at tailback, he wears number 22. Taylor, all 5'11", 216 pounds of him, a little bowling ball. He's the fullback. On second down, here comes Johnson, and nothing there as he tried to go off right guard. Derek Slaughter wrapped him up. A loss of 2.
Alabama's defense ready that time for the Notre Dame run. Notre Dame has just about
abandoning any kind of passing attack. They've been moving the ball on the ground, but they have been much more effective passing coming into this ball game than they had been running. Notre Dame has converted 3 of 6 third down opportunities. They face the Alabama 36, trailing by a touchdown. Receivers both sides, high formation. Andrzak, loose ball, fumble. Andrzak, does he get it back? Let's see, a pile-up. Alabama has the football. Greg Gilbert as Andrzak running the option is stripped of the ball, and Gilbert pounces on it. First turnover, Doug, of this football game comes at a crucial time, for Notre Dame was moving within field goal range.
The Alabama defense has really been playing their hearts out today, and now they've turned the ball over to their offensive compatriots at the Alabama 36. A big, big turnover for the Tide. It's the first turnover of the ball game.
Mike Shula just now arriving at the Tide huddle. He enjoys a 7-0 advantage over Notre Dame with 8 minutes and 35 seconds to go in the first half. The line of scrimmage, his own 36. Toss sweep right side, Humphrey with the blocker. Humphrey to the 40-yard line, and twisting, he comes up to the 42. Kowaleski, the linebacker, credited with the tackle. A gain of 6, 2nd and 4.
Humphrey again almost, well, he was a step away or a tackle away from breaking some long yardage that time. Good blocking by Kerry Good that time on the corner.
Humphrey carried the ball 24 times for 114 yards against Florida 2 weeks ago. Scored a touchdown.
He's barking with his left foot. That ought to give Alabama a first down. Let's wait and see.
He signals third here, Doug, but it's just about half a football length shy of the first down marker.
If Alabama converts this time, it'll be the first time in 3 series that Alabama has converted a third down.
Third and less than a yard to go. Shula, high formation. Mike, quarterback sneak. That'll give him the first down as he drives behind Wes Neighbors.
This is something the Alabama offense needs to do. Move the ball down the field a long series and get the Alabama defense some needed rest on the side.
It's the first time Alabama has earned a first down in quite some time. Let's count up the drives. 1, 2, about 4 drives ago, not since the 8-minute mark of the first quarter has Alabama earned a first down. It leads 7-0. The line of scrimmage, the Alabama 48. Shula wants to throw. Short drop over the middle. Bell wide open. 20, 10, touchdown, Al Bell. Nobody was there off the short drop. Bell flew down the middle of the field. Nobody at home. They may have caught him in a blitz. There was nobody there. Bell has the touchdown.
That's what you call bringing down the thunder. Bell breaking down the middle wide open, and Shula just laid it out. No one could catch Bell as he scooted down the field for the touchdown.
There was no one within 10 yards of him when he caught the football, and no one was going to catch it. Again, the great speed that Alabama possesses. This is Tiffin off a high snap, nailing the extra point. 2 big plays by Alabama. The catch there of 64 yards, of 52 yards. Shula to Bell propels Alabama to a 14-0 lead. Back following the 60-second word from your local station.
They've been saying that Al Bell has been well covered this year. Boy, what a catch that was. Jerry Duncan, a 52-yard touchdown strike. Shula to the fleet-footed Al Bell.
Well, Paul, you called it exactly right. It's very simple what happened. Alabama caught Notre Dame in a maximum blitz, and there just wasn't anybody to pick up Al Bell. Wide open.
Goodness gracious. 6:57 to go in the first half. Alabama 14-0. Doug, the great speed by Alabama. Richardson with a 66-yard punt return.
Bell, the 52-yard touchdown reception. All of about 30 of which he earned on the ground.
It was a great call by the Alabama offense because they just outguessed Notre Dame. They were coming on that early down with a big blitz, and like Jerry pointed out, when you blitz that many, you've got to have a single coverage on one-man Bell, and it just didn't work.
That was Bell's first catch of the afternoon and his 11th of the season. Van Tippen kicking off. It's headed toward the sideline, and it sails over the pylon, will be ruled a touchback and brought out to the 20-yard line, and we have our first penalty marker of the afternoon laying at the Notre Dame 30. Let's see what this is about.
Well, the referee is explaining that the ball was kicked into the end zone or through the end zone. The penalty is apparently going to be against Notre Dame, or at least Kurt Jarvis is of that opinion. We have a holding against Notre Dame, so that will be stepped off.
Let's see who's in at quarterback for the Irish as the referee, John Sophie, marches them back. They've been platooning Andrzak and Berline, and it was Andrzak, a reserve quarterback, filling in for Notre Dame's all-time leading passer. You have to wonder why Berline wasn't in there. Andrzak fumbles. Alabama recovers at its 36. And 4 plays later, it's a 14-0 ball game.
We're having trouble. Alabama's hadn't decided yet whether they want to take the penalty or decline it. Holding against Notre Dame, and Alabama declines it.
It's because, Jerry Duncan, it was on the receiver and not a team in possession. They don't want to kick it again.
Paul, I would think you would see Berline come back into the football game because he is the passer. The reason you're seeing Andrzak in that last series, he was executing the option play real well, but Berline's got to come back in now because they got to put the ball up.
I'm not necessarily questioning Lou Holtz, but then again, I am. You can mention guys like Blair Keel and Terry Hanratty, Joe Montana, Joe Theismann, but this fella, number 7, leads them all in completions and yardage. He's a great little passer. He has his work cut out for him now. Play action, dumping out of the backfield. Here he comes, Pernell Taylor. Oh, big hole, 25, 30. And up to, that's Mark Green, rather, 35, 40, 41-yard line. That's what he needs to do. Big hitter right there, a gain of 21, Doug.
What he did was a little flare screen to the right side to the guy coming out of the backfield. It's a very simple pass to complete, very difficult to defend against. He had blockers in front of him. Alabama had a bit of a rush on that time, and it was a perfect call for the Alabama defense. First down yardage at the 41 for Notre Dame.
Biggest gain through the air this afternoon by Berline, his 3rd completion, and he wants to throw again. With time, cranking it deep down the field. He has a receiver wide open, and Brown is to the Alabama 30, inside the 30, and down to the 27-yard line. Dangerous Tim Brown had beaten Kermit Kendrick along with Ricky Thomas.
With Berline unloosening that arm of his, Alabama sends Cornelius Bennett and his troops back in to put a little bit of a rush on Berline, because here before, until now, he had been feeling pressure from the Alabama front.
Well, he's just ripped off 53 yards and 2 completions. Boom, boom. And here is Notre Dame with its deepest possession.
And the wishbone.
At the Alabama 27. That wishbone set the fullback on the call, and cradling it with both arms, he brings it inside the 25-yard line. That's Tom Monahan, Jerry Duncan, the senior from Illinois.
Well, I've been wondering all afternoon, after talking to the Alabama coaches, Tim Brown is the guy that Notre Dame has been going to in the first 3 games. He's a great player. And up until that play, he had been pretty quiet, but you just had a feeling down here that before long, Tim Brown was going to get his hands on the football, and he did.
Yeah, he's carried once for 3 yards. That was his first reception a moment ago. Good for 32. 2nd and 7. Notre Dame down by 2 touchdowns. Has the ball at the Alabama 24. An I formation now with 2 tight ends for the Fighting Irish. One of those tight ends moved. The play is run off the right side to Mark Green. And let's see if there's I don't see a penalty marker down.
Yes, there is. There's penalty markers down there. And Berline flew over to the head linesman, and he was really complaining about something or another. but we've got a dead ball foul and illegal procedure, like you pointed out, Paul, against Notre Dame.
Andy Heck, a 6'6", 240-pound sophomore, appeared to move on the left side, Doug. Jerry Duncan, the first penalty assessed on a play from the line of scrimmage this afternoon. It goes against the Irish.
Well, Paul, you commented on Burline going up to the official. Burline was trying to get it across to the official that he thought that Alabama pulled Notre Dame offside. He made his tight end jump, so that's why he was a little bit upset about it, but the call went against him.
Who was the linebacker over there, over and above Heck? Did you see it? Was it Wayne Davis?
Yes,
Wayne Davis.
It was Wayne Davis, but their defense can't pull the offense offside. The defense can jump around all day long. The offense can't move once it goes into a three-point set.
Second and a dozen for the Irish, penalized back to the Alabama 29. Now Burline dropped, looking, releasing, incomplete. It's dropped by usually a sure-handed Tim Brown. This time open with Freddie Robinson closing about 5 yards away. He simply let it slip away. We pause 10 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves. Welcome to the Alabama Football Network.
WFFX-FM, WRLX-AM, Tuscaloosa.
Irish up to the football. Third down and 12 with 4:49 remaining in the first half. The ball at the Alabama 29. Single setback for Burline. He drops. The blitz is on. He gets it away. And he throws it out of bounds as his intended receiver, Milt Jackson, cut right across the middle. And I believe Burline, Doug, thought he was going to break out toward the boundary.
He thought Jackson would break out on a down-and-out pattern, but no, he turned inside also. Burline was under a tremendous amount of pressure from the Alabama front that time, and I don't think he worried too much about where Jackson went. He just wanted to get rid of it.
Here's a fine little field goal kicker in John Carney with 34 career field goals to try a 46-yarder. The kick is in the air. It is off left. It had the distance. He missed it left. And Alabama has held again. Timeout on the field. 4.5 minutes remaining in the first half. And Alabama continues to pitch this shutout against the Fighting Irish, leading 14-0. Back in 1 minute. Alabama leading Notre Dame 14-0, and John Carney has just missed a 46-yard field goal try, and the ball is brought back to the previous line of scrimmage, back out to the Alabama 29, and as play resumes, the Tide up by 2 touchdowns with the football there.
That wind blowing actually from his right to left sort of pushed the ball out after he got the kick very, very high, and it might have had the distance. It just didn't have the right direction.
Alabama up to the line of scrimmage, and Shula sends Richardson, who scored a touchdown, and Bell, who scored a touchdown, wide to the near left side. He has an eye set. Now Bell goes in motion to the far side right. Shula turns, toss sweep, short side Humphrey, and the play is broken up early, and he gains a yard. And Darrell Gordon on the stop there for Notre Dame, and the guy that was penetrating there, Doug, was Mike Haywood, a quarterback who wears number 1, and he came charging just as the ball was snapped.
Well, that's they've been looking at Alabama film when they see number 1, Bell, going motion toward the short side of the field. It's usually been a pitch back, and that's what he was.
A gain of 1.5 yards. Second down. Here comes Bell in motion this way. Shula play action. Setting it as 20. Throwing to the near boundary for Bell, and it's broken up at the 41-yard line. A fine defensive play by Notre Dame strong safety Brandy Wells, who slapped it away with his left hand as the ball arrived in front of the Fighting Irish bench.
Everything developing perfectly that time, but the ball seemed to hang a bit on Mike Shula, and got plenty good protection that time. He had plenty of time to get the ball away.
Alabama is 1 for 5 converting on third down. Richardson the wideout, Bell the flanker to the near left side. 3rd and 9. Alabama at its 30 on the far right hash.
The blitz is on. Shula drops. Stands, is hit, loses the ball. It's a fumble, and Notre Dame will recover at the 10-yard line. Shula was blindsided by Darrell Gordon, and it came popping out. His arm was not in motion, and Robert Banks, the left tackle, falls on it at the 10-yard line. They mark it at the 11. And the Irish, with 3 minutes and 49 seconds to go in the first half, and Notre Dame trailing 14-0, the Irish have a golden opportunity to put something on the board here. Berline.
Well, the Alabama fans start chanting defense, and again, the Alabama defense goes back in onto the field, and Alabama's defense in the past has been awfully tough this close in.
They mark it outside the 10, near the 11. They give it to the second man through. That's Brown. They run the isolation off the right side, and Brown drives it inside the 10 to the 8.5. Jerry Duncan, Brown with both Taylor and Green used as blocking backs for him in a full house set.
That's exactly right, Paul. They're going to Tim Brown. He's the bread and butter man. He's a great football player.
Shula hit from the blind side, as we saw in the Florida game. It cost him an interception and a Gator touchdown early. Here, Notre Dame with second and about 8. They can earn a first down if they get it inside the 1. Berline rolling left. Here comes Bennett, and it's thrown into the end zone and broken up. He was looking for his tight end in Andy Heck, and Gilbert, along with Cooper, were defending in the end zone on Heck, and Berline again going against the grain, throwing on the run, just did get it away.
Berline again got racked up by Cornelius Bennett coming from the weak side toward him. Berline running away from Bennett, as any man with proper knowledge of the sport would do.
As any man on the face of this earth as we know it.
We know that Berline has a pretty good point grade average. That verifies it.
3rd and 7. The ball at the Alabama 8. Berline straight back to throw. Releasing out of the backfield, wide open. Notre Dame touchdown, Tim Brown. He held at the line of scrimmage and then took off, was wide open, and it's a 14-6 game. Berline with his 18th touchdown pass of his brilliant career, and he finds the junior Brown all alone in the end zone. And Jerry, I think it was Freddie Robinson who was responsible for the flanker on that play.
Well, I don't know. Whoever it was, he just got whipped. That's all you can say. Tim Brown, that's the guy they like to go to.
Carney to add the point after. The spot, the kick, in the air, right down the middle. And this game tightens up as Notre Dame capitalizes on the Alabama turnover. It's Alabama 14, the Fighting Irish 7. We'll return in 1 minute to Legion Field. Well, just when you thought that Alabama was cruising comfortably toward the halftime dressing room with a 2-touchdown lead, Mike Shula at his own 31 is hit from the blind side, fumbles. The Fighting Irish recover at the tie 10. 3 plays later, it's Berline to Tim Brown. Carney's extra point makes it a 14-7 ball game, Doug, with 2:59 to go in the first half.
Well, you just can't turn the ball over like that deep in your territory. The Alabama defense had been doing a super job against the Notre Dame offense all afternoon long, but when you give them a break inside your own 11, you're going to expect bad things to happen. And that'll give Notre Dame a little added spurt of adrenaline right here in the waning moments of the first half.
Got to. Carney, soccer-style kicker, those black shoes, runs up and hits it. He hit it well. This is Humphrey, 3 yards into the end zone, bobbling it and saying no. I'll down it on one knee, and we'll start at the 20-yard line. Time for Alabama to at least kill the final 2:59 off the clock, if not move it into position for Van Tiffen. Van has kicked 2 extra points this afternoon, has yet to attempt a field goal.
Well, you know that Mike Shula and his offensive cohorts are just as disgruntled as anyone, more so than anyone. So they naturally want to do something with the football, want to do something here before the first half concludes.
The running backs are Humphrey and Good, set behind Shula at the 20-yard line. Mike, toss sweep right side. This is Good. Good is upended at the 22 by Kovalevsky.
Mike Kovaleski, he's a great one. 6'2", 218, and he loves to play. Clock running, 2:40, 2:39, 2 minutes, 38 seconds and counting left here in the second quarter. This is Richardson along with Albert Bell, Prince Albert, the flanker to the near left side. Second down, a long 7. Off the counter, Humphrey to the 25, across the 25 to the 26. Setting up third down as outside linebacker Dave Butler, the senior, made the stop on the sophomore in Humphrey.
As you pointed out earlier, Paul, Alabama has not been too successful with third down conversions offensively here in the first half. And if that trend continues, then Notre Dame should get the ball back in pretty good field position and good time left.
Alabama's converted only 1 of 6 third down opportunities. Must reach the 30-yard line. Just across the 25, Shula dropping, setting, dumping out of the backfield. He has Good, and Good has the first down and more. 35 and up to the 40-yard line. Nifty running there in close quarters by Terry Good on the far right boundary, and Steve Lawrence and Mike Haywood teamed on the step.
Oh, that was a big third down conversion for Alabama's offense that time, because you just didn't want to punt it away at this particular stage of the ball game. Alabama's offense has got to exert and take the momentum.
That's a gain of 14, Shula to Good, and the 4th completion this afternoon for Mike. First and 10 for Alabama, a minute and 21 seconds to go. Shula, play action, looking to throw deep, cranking it up, throwing it to the boundary. He's got Richardson, and Richardson is out of bounds at the Notre Dame 43, and a penalty marker goes down 2 for a late hit. And that will tack on 15 more for Alabama, and just that quickly, Mike Shula has Alabama knocking on the door.
Mike Shula is absolutely incredible. It seems that with the clock ticking down, he all of a sudden says, well, let's get this thing underway and get this ball game in its proper perspective, and let's get some points on the board right before halftime. Step off of 15 yards for a late hit on Richardson, puts the ball at the Notre Dame 28. It'll be first down, Alabama.
I did not get the number on the Notre Dame player that made the hit. It was Troy Wilson. Thanks, Tim McDarby. Troy Wilson penalized there.
It was either Troy or Tom Monahan, one of the two.
14-7, Alabama leading. The reverse, Humphrey giving to Bell with blockers. 25, 20, 15, down to the 10-yard line. Kovaleski on the stop. What a block Mike Shula provided.
I was going to say Shula is the man that threw the key block that sprung him loose, and also you can expect to see Alabama run that end around, but Notre Dame just wasn't ready.
Alabama has the football now. First and 10 at the Notre Dame 11. Can pick up a first down, obviously. 1:04 to go. Slow down, Mike, and use up some of that time. Probably run here. And they spread the field from the near left hash. Bell and Richardson out that way. Now man in motion. This is Humphrey. Shula, no, he wants to throw. He's going into the end zone. He's got a touchdown. Howard crossed the tight end. Mike Shula, Doug, is absolutely incredible.
What a fantastic series conducted by Mike Shula, the senior from Miami, Florida. Incredible display. His passing on that particular drive was uncannily accurate. His demeanor was that of frozen water. And the result, 6 points.
20-7. Here is Van Tiffen. A high snap. And Abney pulls it down.
Good.
And Tiffen just manages to get it inside the left upright. It's good. Alabama going 80 yards in 6 plays in an even 2 minutes to lead by 2 touchdowns, 21-7. Back for the final minute of the first half in 1 minute on the Alabama Football Network. Alabama leading 21-7 as Van Tiffen kicks it away.
Again, a short kick. And from the 10 up to the 15. This is Brown, 20 as he breaks the tackle. And he fights his way to the 24-yard line. Mike Shula finding Howard Cross, the tight end. And for Howard, the sophomore, that is only his second career reception and obviously his very first career touchdown catch. A great moment in his life.
He was exceptionally happy when he caught the ball, jumping up and down. Burline goes back in, and let's see if Notre Dame will come out throwing, or will they be content to try to run the ball and go into halftime down by only 14.
That was Mike Shula's second touchdown strike for the first half. Well, under a heavy rush, Burline to throw, and it skips up incomplete. He's looking for Mark Green, and it is Bennett along with Gilbert swapping him under there and back up to his feet, or rather Philip Brown, and those two fellows have to help Burline back up to his feet. 49 seconds to go. Alabama can just let those ears back. You got great pass rushers in there, Philip Brown and Bennett. Cliff Thomas gets off the line of scrimmage pretty well, too. You know Notre Dame more than likely is going to try and throw. 49 seconds remaining. Single setback, quarterback draw now. Burline up to the 30. And with interference up to the 31-yard line. And that's Andrzak rather than Burline.
Yeah, Andrzak that time running the football. And Notre Dame will take a timeout now.
Yep, Notre Dame has taken its first with 38 seconds to go. So the Irish, obviously, Doug and Jerry trying to score. Notre Dame coming off its first timeout. The Irish have 2 remaining in this half. This appears to be Bellis at quarterback. No, it's still Andrzak. Andrzak still. Play action, throwing. He's got Green. Green 35, 40. Up the boundary and out of bounds at the 41. That's Mark Green, the tailback. Desmond Holloman shoved him into the Irish sideline. And it was Cornelius Bennett again, Doug, applying the heavy pass rush on Terry Andrzak.
Now, they just go away from Cornelius. They have given up any thought of stopping him completely. And that pass, the little flare screen out onto the short side of the field, Alabama let them have that. That'll run time off the clock, and there's no chance of really scoring unless something big breaks loose.
The split end, Milt Jackson, and the flanker, Tim Brown, set to the far left side. 1st and 10 for the Irish at the 42. Andrzak play action. Big drop. Maybe setting up the screen. He is, but he throws it out of bounds. Throws it out of bounds, trying to hit his tailback and freshman Anthony Johnson.
Alabama's rush that time fouled up Andrzak a bit. Usually when a front discovers they're rushing a screen, they sometimes slow down a bit, but that time Alabama went a little faster, those that had broken through, and it made him hurry the pass. It was overthrown.
Second down here, and Andrzak only 2 for 3 in 20 yards. Alabama by 2 touchdowns, and Lou Holtz continues to platoon Burline and Andrzak. From his 42, Andrzak play action, big rush. And now he's going to scramble. Throwing on the run. He has it complete out of bounds. The Alabama 34-yard line, Tim Brown. What a play by Andrzak coming up toward the line of scrimmage, Jerry Duncan, throwing on the run. And he threw the long pass to the far boundary and finds Tim Brown again.
Well, he did a great job. He felt the pressure, Paul, and a couple of guys banged into him, and he stepped up to the pocket and found his favorite receiver, Timmy Brown.
Doug, that's a gain of 24 yards to Brown.
And it cost him 11 seconds. But Alabama's backing up, but now they'll start getting a little tighter. The ground now becomes more precious.
18 seconds to go, trying to get it within Kearney's field goal range. Andrzak to throw, floating it out of the backfield. He has his tight end complete to the 26-yard line, and Joel Williams with 10 seconds to go. And Notre Dame calls its second timeout. On the stop, Wayne Davis, but the tight end, Joel Williams, releasing late, floating out, finding the open spot. And Andrzak laid the ball in there. It's a gain of 8 more. Now, Kearney's career best is 51 yards. He has missed earlier from 46. If he attempts the kick here, it would be of, just about 44.
This is assuming that Notre Dame does not try one more play. If they try one more play, it'll have to be a pass more than likely. And if it's incomplete, the clock stops. If it doesn't, they'll have to get out of bounds. Jerry Duncan?
Well, there's no question they're going to go for another play. I mean, they've got 10 seconds plus another timeout, so they're going to go for
I'll tell you,
at least one more play.
What they're going to do is take the ball from the far left hash and run it right to the middle of the field.
That's more than likely.
Let the clock wind down and call and use their final timeout. 10 seconds to go. Alabama leading 21-7 over visiting Notre Dame on a warm and humid afternoon here in Legion Field. Notre Dame breaks the huddle. Here they come. Would it be something if he crossed everybody up and threw the ball?
He may do that.
Andrzak. Tight end set to the short left side. I formation. Andrzak. Play action. He wants to throw the ball. Down the middle. He's got it complete. 10-yard line. Out of bounds. 5-yard line. 3 seconds to go. Milt Jackson. He crossed us up.
I thought he would throw.
Milt Jackson to the 5. Oh, you were right. Freddie Robinson ran him out of bounds.
The problem with the pass was that if he didn't get out of bounds, then they wouldn't have time for the field goal attempt if he was tackled. But he did manage to get out. Now it's a chip shot.
Of 22 yards for John Carney. He's missed one earlier today. There is a steep angle to his right. He's kicking from the far left hash. The holder is the punter in Sorensen. 3 seconds to go. Final play of the first half. The kick is in the air. It obviously has the distance, and it's good as gold. And the first half comes to a close as Carney nails the 22-yarder to tighten the score to 21-10. Advantage Alabama. So Notre Dame coming down the field the final 2 minutes of this first half. Andrzak, the reserve quarterback, directing the Fighting Irish to their second score of the afternoon. Our halftime show is coming up. Doug Layton and Jerry Duncan with all the statistics from the first half of play and much more.
In Birmingham, where Alabama leads Notre Dame 21-10. I'm Doug Layton, along with Jerry Duncan across the way as the $1 Million Band performs at midfield. Well, Jerry, let me run down the team statistics before we start talking about that first half. Notre Dame with 11 first downs to Alabama's 8. These are the unofficial statistics. On the ground, Notre Dame out-rushing Alabama 85-41. And in the passing department, Notre Dame 10 of 18, 140 yards. Alabama 6 of 11, 108. For Notre Dame, though, those 18 passes, 12 of them thrown by Steve Berline, and the other 6 thrown by Andrzak. And for Alabama, of course, the 11 passes thrown all by Mike Shula. 6 completed, 108 yards. Total yardage in the first half, Notre Dame with a good edge, 225 yards to Alabama's 149. And in the penalty department, Alabama did not get a penalty in the first half, whereas Notre Dame was penalized twice for a total of 20 yards. And third down conversion, Alabama 2 of 7. Notre Dame a very sparkling 5 of 9. The Alabama defense allowed 2 sacks, loss of 21 yards, and one of those caused a fumble and led to a Notre Dame touchdown. Alabama has sacked Berline once for a loss of 29. And in time of possession, Notre Dame with a 3-minute edge, 16 minutes and 51 seconds to 13 minutes and 9 seconds for Alabama. Chris Moore having a fine day punting, 4 times for a 47.5-yard average, and Sorensen 3 times for 42-yard average. Berline kicked once for 10 yards. Field goal, Carney has 1 of 2 for 22 yards. Alabama has not attempted a field goal in this afternoon's contest. We'll be back with more comments on the first half right after this 90-second network break on the Alabama Football Network.
for the second half kickoff with the voice of the Crimson Tide, Paul Kennedy.
Well, nobody has taken off yet. All 76,000 fans who had jammed in here a couple of hours ago are still here despite the 90-degree temperatures and the humid conditions, so they've seen a pretty good first half, too. Alabama leading 21-10 on the sake of the big play. Richardson's 66-yard punt return. Shula's 52-yard touchdown strike to Al Bell, and Shula hurling 11 yards to Howard Cross. 21-10, Alabama. For the Tide, Van Tiffen has the ball on the tee at his 35-yard line, and he is set to kick deep to Tim Brown, the fine Notre Dame flanker who scored Notre Dame's only 7-pointer of this afternoon when he hauled in an 8-yard touchdown strike from Burline. Well, the referees are ready to have at it, and so is Alabama and Notre Dame. The Tide ranked second, gunning for its 5th win of the year. Tiffen kicks it high and deep, and Brown will start at his goal line. 5, 10, 15, 20, loses the ball. Alabama has the ball. Desmond Holloman stripped him of it, and the Tide recovers inside the Notre Dame 20-yard line.
What a tremendous break for Alabama, and the kicking team has done it again. The first touchdown, the kicking team with a touchdown run now turns the ball over inside the 20 at the 19, and Mike Shula comes out onto the field.
This is Mike Shula, who has hurled now 28 career touchdown passes in a pair this afternoon. He has Bell right and Richardson left in an I formation. Shula turns, gives to his tailback, Humphrey, inside the 15, down to the 10, and there are penalty markers coming from all directions.
And from that direction, you're going to see offensive holding more than likely. And that will nullify that fine run by Humphrey and bring the ball back. And it'll be a 10-yard step-off against Alabama more than likely, but let's wait and see. The officials have not given us any indication as yet. The opening kickoff resulted in a turnover by Notre Dame, and on the first play, Alabama had apparently picked up about 9 yards, but that'll come back.
Holding the call, and the referee, John Sophie, marching it back to the 29-yard line, so that's
the first penalty for Alabama.
And that's a big one, too, for it takes Alabama from inside the 10 all the way back close to the 30-yard line. 21-10 our score as Alabama breaks the huddle. And again, it's Bell right, Richardson left. Terry Good, the fullback. Bobby Humphrey, the tailback, in the eye. Notre Dame with an even front, a 4-man front. Shula drops, the left-hander looks, fires. And a diving grab at the 21-yard line on the far side of the field. Albert Bell comes back to the ball and makes up some of those yards. It'll set up second down and 13 yards to go for Alabama. Shula had to throw it a long way, Doug, and Bell on a comeback route made the catch.
He did. It was across the field toss, and he almost got caught with the ball behind the line of scrimmage, but he did get it away.
For Al Bell, his second reception of the afternoon. For Mike Shula, his 7th completion, 2nd and 13 at the Notre Dame 22. Shula backpedaling, sets at the 30, pumps, now rolls this way, feels the heat, throws deep, and it's out of bounds, incomplete at the 5-yard line. And back at the 35, Mike Shula went down as Darrell Gordon hit him as he let it go.
Shula just dumped that one. He saw no hope of a completion. He also knew that he was about to get racked up from the blind side. He just threw it as hard as he could under the circumstances. Heady play by the youngster. 3rd down and 12 and a half, 13 yards. So you'd like to see Alabama get some points out of that turnover to start this second half.
Alabama is 2 of 7 converting on 3rd down. 3rd and 13 at the Notre Dame 22. They spread the field from the far right hash mark. And now Mike Shula spins around and calls for timeout as he did not like what he saw. Did you see the 20-second play clock, Doug?
Yeah, he saw the clock. He had 2 seconds left when he when he turned around to call timeout.
Well, we'll hold it right here. 13:43 showing. Alabama up 21-10. And Jerry Duncan, Alabama here trying to capitalize on the early fumble to open the second half by Notre Dame.
Well, it'd certainly be nice to get some points out of this other turnover. Of course, the first thing we do is get a holding penalty, which is, I don't recommend, but we're not in too bad a shape here, Paul. We're going to get some points out of this thing.
We have not seen such folks as Bo Wright carry the ball. David Castile, who had the outstanding game against Florida 2 weeks ago, Doug, when he carried the ball 10 times for 75 yards and a score. He's a fresh face we might see this afternoon, although he was struggling with hamstring problems earlier.
I'll tell you, this Alabama squad right now has really been decimated by injuries, and not only offensively, but quite a few defensive players. Of course, one of the top running backs in the country in Gene Jelks has not played in 2 games now for Alabama. If this one goes through without him playing in it, and apparently he won't since he's not dressed out. So injuries have played a part. It's a big play coming up now, though. You can't worry about that phase of it with a third down facing Mike Shula and his cohorts at the Notre Dame 22.
21-10. Again, your score. It is Richardson coming way on out here to the left side, and the flanker is Al Bell. Now Shula sends Humphrey in motion, headed toward the boundary. Now Mike drops, sets, throws. He's going into the end zone. Bell, touchdown! A leaping grab at the goal line for Albert Bell. His second touchdown of the afternoon. They beat the free safety and Steve Lawrence for the score. Touchdown, Shula to Bell. Mike with his third touchdown strike of the day.
I'll tell you what, he did not see that completed pass because just as he released it, the blitzing outside linebacker, Darrell Gordon, really racked up Mike Shula. He never saw Bell catch the ball and dive into the end zone.
27-10. Awaiting the extra point. The snap, the spot, the kick. Right down the middle. Timeout on the field. Your score, Alabama 28. The Fighting Irish 10. Alabama has never beaten Notre Dame. They are a step closer with 2 quarters to go. Back in 1 minute following this network message on the Alabama Football Network. Mike Shula with touchdown passes this afternoon, Doug. To Al Bell of 52 yards. The tight end Howard Cross for 11 yards. And again, the great speed and leaping ability of Bell results in a 22-yard pass reception. Shula is hot, and so is unbeaten Alabama.
Mike Shula got off to a lackluster start, one of his first 5, but he's completed 7 of his last 9, so you can't count the youngster out until it's all over.
We've played less than a minute and a half of the second half, and this is Brown awaiting the kickoff by Tiffin. And this one sails into the end zone. Not a play, and will be brought out to the 20-yard line. A touchback. And no one has to feel worse right now than does Notre Dame's Tim Brown as he coughed it up when hit at his own 19-yard line to open up the second half. And it took Shula but 3 plays officially to nail Al Bell at the goal line.
Your offense has got to wonder, said, look, we hadn't been in the ball game, and only a couple of minutes have gone off the clock, and we're down 7 more.
Well, the Alabama defense waving its arms, trying to get the crowd into this game. Here comes Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. Trailing now by 18 points at 28-10. The quarterback is Burline. He's got him in the eye. Down the line option. They give us to his fullback, and he pops through and then may have a first down coming across the 25 to the 30. Pernell Taylor, and they failed to wrap him up, Doug, on the line of scrimmage, and he kept those legs going, and Bennett stops him after he gains 11 and earns the first.
I got to give credit to Burline a little bit for that because he carried the option fake out perfectly, and a lot of people thought he still had the ball, but in reality it was the fullback on the first option picking up a first down.
Alvin Miller and Tim Brown set to the near right side. Again, the fullback in Taylor tries the gut and earns a yard. Tommy Cole hits him around the ankles to bring him down.
The lead blocker is Timmy Brown, and you can expect to see Burline fake that play, pull it out of the fullback's stomach, and then raise up and hit Brown going down the right side.
Tight end Joel Williams bringing in the play, replacing Andy Heck as Lou Holt shuttles his tight ends. This time Brown and Miller go to the far side left, and the wideout comes to the near right side, and Mark Green single setback in Taylor on 2nd and 9 from the 32. Loose ball fumble on a poor quarterback exchange, and Burline falls on it. Nearly disastrous second time. They say lightning can't strike in the same place twice. It very nearly did just that for Notre Dame here in the third quarter.
And George Bethune is just beside himself because he could have recovered it, but he didn't see the loose ball until Burline had fallen back on top of it.
Now Lou Holt says, "Come here, Steve Burline." And Andrzak goes into the game.
We have a final score from the Plains. Auburn 55, Western Carolina 6.
12 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Alabama 28-10. Third down for Notre Dame. Andrzak play action. Here comes Bennett. Bennett's got him. He's going to dump it to a lineman. That's intentional grounding, and down go the penalty flag. Cornelius Bennett may have got him around the face mask. Let's see, the referee and John Sophie threw a flag. The umpire and P.T. Williams threw a flag as well.
We got 3 flags down there.
Jerry Duncan, what you got?
Well, he threw the ball, and number 72 was the one that tried to catch it. Now, I don't know whether they're going to call it, illegal grounding or...
Well, let's see. Here he is, Jerry.
Okay.
The referee, John Sophie. Plays. We'll do it again.
All right, we've got illegal pass on the offense and face mask on Alabama, so they'll do a third down one more time.
Offsetting penalties, I should say. So Bennett grabbing the face mask costs Alabama an opportunity to force Notre Dame into a punting situation, and Andrzak back into the huddle now. Boy, he had him but good.
He really did.
Bennett only has 5 tackles, 4 unassisted in this ball game thus far.
Bennett is on the outside, though, and he puts so much pressure. He's not in a position to make the great many tackles as an inside backer might be.
3rd and 10 for Notre Dame. At its 30, play action, Andrzak. Here comes the heat. He's going to scramble. He has an open field. 35, 40, first down, 45, 47-yard line. Andrzak pulled it down. Has that outside pressure, and Bennett and Brown and Slaughter and Jarvis started to get to him, Doug. He took off and found daylight and has the first down on a scramble of 16 yards.
What happens is you can't give up the containment. You've got to keep him inside, and they're so intent on trying to get to him because they think he's going to pass. And Andrzak, unlike Burline couldn't do that. He cannot run that fast. He's not a good scrambler, but Andrzak is. You got to contain him.
1st and 10 for the Irish. 3 yards shy of midfield. Down the line option. And now the pitch. Here comes Mark Green. At the 45, he's hit. He'll lose a yard.
That's the way you defense that.
And Greg Gilbert, along with Freddie Robinson. Freddie, the second guy there. And there is a shaken-up Crimson Tide player in Gilbert playing at the 44.
It looks like Greg Gilbert on around the 44.
We'll pause for the 60-second network timeout. Alabama leading, visiting Notre Dame, 28-10. This is the Alabama Football Network. Alabama's fine young trainer, Chris Smith, along with Doc Henney, his able assistant, helping Greg Gilbert to the sideline. And here is Joe Godwin, the 4-year regular for Alabama, a senior, and to replace him at the strong inside linebacker position.
A couple of scores that may be of interest. LSU has defeated Florida this afternoon in a game played in Gainesville.
That's 4 in a row that Florida has dropped, isn't it, Doug?
That's correct. They have not had a fair year. Thanks to Irk Russell, they have 1 victory.
28-10 your score here with 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Notre Dame facing 2nd and 13 at its 44-yard line. The quarterback, Andrzak, shuffle pass, batted down, incomplete. Cornelius Bennett knocked it down as Andrzak tried to hit Green on that little Utah shuffle pass, and the crowd thought it was a fumble. It is not.
Nope, it's a forward pass. It's knocked down. It doesn't matter how you throw the football, overhand, underhand, sidearmed, or what. If it goes forward, it's a forward pass. Andrzak has been in at the helm for Notre Dame this entire second half, Paul. He's just, I guess, a little more active foot-wise than Burline.
Well, Notre Dame has converted 6 of 10 third down opportunities. Play action for Andrzak, scrambling away from the heat, looking downfield. He'll come up to the 40. Boom, he's hit from behind, and it falls incomplete. Oh, his arm was in motion. He stopped off
the scramble at the 45 to throw downfield, and just as that arm started forward, Cornelius Bennett took him apart.
You just can't stand back there and scramble around. Sooner or later, a red-shirted person is going to wrap you up, and that's what happened that time.
Dan Sorensen, the senior, on to kick. In the first half, he averaged 34 yards in 4 efforts. His longest was of 48 yards. He'll hit it at his 35. Nice punt. Retreating Richardson at his 10, makes the grab, heads to the far right side, cuts inside 20, and down at the 23-yard line. Nice move by Richardson. A fine punt of 45 yards by Sorensen, and that's an 8-yard return by Greg Richardson. 10 minutes, 25 seconds left in the third quarter, and Alabama enjoying a 28-10 lead. And the Tide with the football, and we'll pause here. Back following the 60-second network message. Alabama has led throughout the football game, enjoying leads of 7-0, 14-0, 14-7, 21-7, 21-10 at halftime, and right now ahead by 18 at 28-10 with 10 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the third quarter, and the Tide set them again, 1st and 10 at its 18-yard line. We pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Alabama Football Network. Here you go, you old crimson and white. There's Bell out wide to the right side, and now Greg Payne into the game. Wide left. Alabama shifts him to the eye. Shula turns, gives it straight up the gut. This is Bo Wright. And Bo's across the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. Now that is the first ball carrier, Doug, in this game other than Good or Humphrey to carry, with the exception of Bell and Shula on a couple of particular situations. So it's been exclusively Humphrey and Good.
And you could see a little spring in his legs that time as he scooted through that hole that the Alabama line knocked in that Notre Dame defense. Big first down.
Yeah, gain of 11. 1st and 10 for Alabama, now at its 29-yard line. Man in motion, Humphrey out of the backfield. And there are whistles, and we may have a procedure call as the play is stopped. Alabama wanted to run the toss sweep to the short side, and the play never developed right. The referee, John Sophie, steps in, and he will penalize Alabama 5 yards for illegal procedure.
The play never got underway right. We had movement on the right side of the Alabama line, and the official, once that happens, the play is stopped. You can't carry on. It's a dead ball penalty. A 5-yard step off, so it'll be 1st down and 15 after that fine run by Bo Wright.
Alabama this afternoon has been penalized a total of 2 times, both coming in this half. One a holding call, and now the procedure call. Payne along with Bell come this way. Albert's caught 2 touchdown passes this afternoon. Alabama at its 24. There goes Humphrey in motion. Shula. They'll give it up to get the Bo. Bo breaking tackles, comes up to the 30-yard line.
He gets the 5 back that Alabama was penalized as he moved it back to the 30-yard line. He is really scooting through some holes there.
Well, entering this game, Bo had, let's see, carried the ball a total of 8 times for a net 34 yards. He had 11 yards rushing on 3 carries against the Gators 2 weeks ago. That gives him 17 this afternoon in 2 carries. 2nd and 9. Alabama at its 30 with the big lead. Shula toss sweep. Near side, Humphrey cutting back, and down he goes. 3rd down as he gets up to the 31-yard line. Notre Dame strung it out perfectly, and Mike Griffin, the senior nose guard from Cleveland Heights, Ohio, made the tackle. You look around Notre Dame's roster, and they got guys from Louisiana, Texas, Ohio, Virginia, New Jersey, Illinois, Indiana. Truly a nationally recruited program.
It really is. That time, Darrell Gordon and Weisenhofer, the linebackers, just kept the play inside and contained, and sooner or later you're going to run out of ground to cover, and Humphrey was trapped.
Payne in motion. Shula on 3rd down wants to throw. Out of the backfield, he has Humphrey at the 30. Puts a move on, comes to the 35, but is 3 yards shy of the 1st down marker as he's tackled at the 36-yard line. And
Alabama will punt as Troy Wilson, the left quarterback, made a fine open field stop on Bobby Humphrey. Twin receivers dropping back for the Irish with 7:55 remaining and the clock rolling here in the third quarter. And it is Chris Moore, who averaged 46 yards a kick in 4 previous efforts in the first half, including a 73-yarder, who takes the snap and hits it at his 26. Another boomer. This is Wilson at his 15, headed this way, 20, gets a block, 25, 30, spinning 35-yard line, and down he goes. On the stop, Chester Braggs again, a 49-yard punt with a 20-yard return. You'd like to do a little bit better there in net punting department. And Notre Dame 1st and 10, and they'll mark it at the Irish 36-yard line. And Alabama leading Notre Dame 28-10. Andrzak Doug back in at quarterback for Notre Dame.
I'm going to take a look and see if I can't find Burline and see if he looks all right.
I formation. Andrzak turns, toss sweep right side, nowhere to go, and down goes the tailback running the ball, Hiawatha Francisco, for the first time this afternoon. Appeared to be Francisco. Let's see. It sure is. What a wonderful name. Jerry Duncan, you ever known anybody named Hiawatha Francisco?
No, but I know one thing. Our defense played that play perfect.
They played the last 2 perfectly on those pitches, Jerry. They're really doing a super job.
Francisco still in the eye with Monahan, the fullback. 2nd and 11. That one lost a yard. Monahan gets that yard back, but nothing else. As Kurt Jarvis was there on the stop.
I have found Steve Burline on the side. He's okay, standing there with his helmet on next to the offensive coach, like he's ready to go in if he's needed. Bennett comes in on 3rd down play to assist in the pass rush. Alabama is expecting Andrzak to go to the air.
Here comes the play from the sideline. And Notre Dame is going to have to call timeout as they got confused. They had receivers coming in and out. Andrzak was shouting toward the sideline, and Notre Dame has used its first timeout of the second half. Back in 1 minute following this local message. Alabama 28-10 over the Irish on the Alabama Football Network. Notre Dame coming off its first timeout of the second half. The Irish, with 2 remaining, were in the third quarter, and Alabama leads Notre Dame 28-10. And Douglas, it appears that Steve Burline has replaced Andrzak following the timeout.
That's right. Burline was standing talking to Coach Lou Holtz, and he went back out on the field with the offensive unit because Notre Dame is faced with a very big 3rd down and 10 situation, and you would assume that they would go to the air right now. Let's see what does indeed happen.
Well, they have the reserves in there. Tony Eason, a reserve split end. Reggie Ward, the reserve flanker. Burline out of a shotgun, single setback behind him. Takes the snap, drops the throw, stands in the pocket. Here comes the heat, throws, and it's intercepted. Alabama has the ball at the 38-yard line. Freddie Robinson with the interception as Burline telegraphed the pass intended for Ward. Well, he knew it was coming this way, didn't he? He just looked over, finally threw it.
That's
and
right.
Robinson broke on the ball.
Burline watched his receiver all the way, like you say, and there was no doubt about who he was going to throw it to, and the Alabama defender was right there ready to go with it. And Alabama, again, in excellent position over on a turnover at the Notre Dame 38.
The second turnover of the second half for Notre Dame. Alabama in business at the Irish 38-yard line, leading 28-10, and the crowd, as you can hear, is rocking in Legion Field. Bell comes in motion. Shula turns, toss sweep. No, the reverse to Bell. Shula gives him a block, open field. 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, and down to the 14-yard line. Mike Shula is quite a pulling guard when he wants to be. Larry Rose pulled there too, Jerry Duncan, and laid out a Notre Damer. Mike
Shula, I don't know how many of them he blocked, but he got in the way of 3.
You know, he does it perfectly. The quarterback has to block on that play, but he has to be careful and not make the mistake of blocking somebody's back or something. But what a play. What a day he's having.
Alabama right now looking very much like the number 2 team in America.
Maybe even...
Bell on a 24-yard scamper that time. Whitehurst into the game now. And Shula setting under center. Moved away for a moment. Now the counter to Humphrey. And Humphrey hit high. Goes down at the 8-yard line. And, Jerry, that was Wally Klein that about took his headgear off.
Well, I don't know what in the hell happened on that play. Mike walked out from under the center, and there never was a flag thrown. The 30-second clock, or the 25-second clock went down, and now they've just dropped the flag. So, obviously, we took too much time, but they didn't call it till Mike went back up under the center and took the snap.
Well, that'll cost us 5 and move the ball back to the 20-yard line. And Mike Shula, you could see, he moved away from center, was hesitant there, Doug, but he didn't hear a whistle, so he just ran the play.
Well, he saw the clock had run down, and he saw it was on 0, so nobody did anything, so he said, what the heck, we'll give it a shot. And he went back, but then the officials threw it. The crowd is extremely loud right now, and it's very difficult to hear down there.
1st and 15 for Alabama at the 19. Shula, the second man through Humphrey, and another flag hits the dust. Well, a carpet, actually. Let's see what this is about.
I'm afraid it's going to be the same thing, except, no, it's offside. It's going to be called.
Dead ball.
Nope, it's against us. What I thought. Procedure against Alabama. Another 5-yard step-off. Crowd noise is such that they just can't get the playoff. And you probably saw Alabama's offensive lineman go up there talking and Bill Conner to the officials, probably saying, we can't hear.
Whitehurst may have jumped that time, Jerry. Did you see it?
That's what it was. Sorry, Ian.
Yeah, and Clay went back to visit with Coach Perkins, and Albert Bell returned. I'm sure Lou Holtz is happy with that fact. Man in motion, Humphrey, 1st and 20 now at the Notre Dame 24. Shula, shuffle pass, Bo Wright, and he stopped at the 21 by Mike Griffin, the nose guard.
You know, it's quite a bit of difference to be first down at the 9-yard line, and then all of a sudden you find yourself burst down way back at the 19. So just a little different shadow on it.
Well, the way the chains are standing now, Alabama must penetrate the 4-yard line to earn the first down. 2nd and 17 yards away from that point at the 21, leading 28-10 over Notre Dame late in the 3rd quarter. Shula maybe checking off. Slot left formation. Mike, the drop, looking to throw. Bell open, 10-yard line. Fighting, and down he goes at the 11. He couldn't get out of the grasp of Randy Wells. Jerry Wells with a nice tackle there, and it sets up 3rd and, about 6 yards to go.
Well, Bob, I think what's happening, at least from my vantage point, it looks like they're giving Al Bell 10 or 12 yards, and you can't do that. We'll eat them alive if they keep on playing Al Bell like they're doing. They've been doing it all day, really.
Yeah, they've been giving him a little cushion, but they've been doubling him, Jerry, until this series. Now he's getting single coverage, and you can't do that for sure.
Well, he's caught 4 passes today, good for 90 yards, and he's wide left. Shula, 3rd and 8 at the 12. Shuffle pass, and it falls incomplete. Intended for Wright at the 14-yard line, and there were gold helmet fellows standing all around Bo Wright. He let it drop.
Well, here comes the guy in the ballgame now, Van Tippen, who has not attempted a field goal, in a couple of games anyway.
He's made his last 8 in a row, though.
That's true, but he hadn't kicked one. He did not kick one in the Florida game. So he's, but he kicks about 200 a day, so I'm sure he's not rusty.
Well, Abney will put the tee down just shy of the 20, so we'll call it a 30-yard shot by little number 3 with the wind at his back, slight angle to his right. The snap, the spot, the kick with distance. No, he hooked it left. He missed it. And that 8 consecutive field goal string is now snapped. And you can't be perfect all the time, and Van misses the 3:21 remaining, and Alabama's lead stands at 28-10 over Notre Dame. Miss Tiffin
knocked it left from 30 yards out.
But your offense has got to feel a little disappointed since the defense handed the ball on an interception at the Notre Dame 38 and came up with nothing.
Andrzak back in at quarterback. Let's compare these two Notre Dame passers today. Andrzak, 5 of 8. He's 0 for 2 here in the second half. Earned 74 yards in the first half. Berline, by the way, on the sideline, 5 of 13 for 66 yards in his score. Notre Dame's going to have to throw. Andrzak play action, flares it out of the backfield, and breaking a tackle, it is Taylor, the fullback, and he's up to the 20 and the 22-yard line. They very nearly had him for a loss back there, Doug, as Andrzak just floated it out to the near right flank.
Cornelius Bennett had him and appeared for a loss, but he made a move and got away. Bennett overran him, really. But it was a good play, but he only picked up a couple of yards. Real good and quick reaction by the Alabama defense.
Notre Dame on 2nd and 8 at its 22-yard line. Andrzak. Play action. Broken play. In trouble. Slaughters after him. And he'll release it, and it falls incomplete. Intended for Anthony Johnson, laying prone at his 27.
And chasing him that time was Tommy Cole. We're coming out of a defensive tackle position. And I'll tell you that wears the defensive tackles out chasing that quarterback around like that.
3rd down and 8 for Notre Dame. With 2:36 remaining in the third quarter, and Notre Dame has converted 6 of a dozen third down opportunities so far this afternoon. Slot left formation, single running back, and the fullback Taylor behind Andrzak at the Irish 22. Andrzak, the short drop, throws to the boundary, and it's broken up. Broken up cleanly, intended for Johnson, as Robinson, who had the interception earlier, arrived simultaneously with the ball, and he was fists and elbows everywhere. And the defense with a nice round of applause.
This Alabama defense has just taken this ball game over. Notre Dame can't apparently do anything. However, trailing by 18 points, you sort of find yourself backed up against the wall, and you got to try some daring stuff.
Line of scrimmage, the 22. Sorensen, whose earlier kick was good at 45 yards, will hit it at the 10, and Alabama plays for the return. Low line drive kick. This is Richardson at his 40. Tries to get outside, makes 1, 2, 3 moves, and takes 1, 2, 3 hits. And he's dead in his tracks at the 38-yard line. No return following a 40-yard punt by Sorensen. And that's where Alabama will put it into play. Still very good field position. And the Tide, which is led throughout the afternoon on a very hot day here in Birmingham, will try to add to its total.
Alabama has had possession starting at their 18 in this half and now at the 38, but the other 2 times in plus territory.
Bell, wide right. Whitehurst back in there wide left. They'll sweep the right side to Humphrey. Humphrey at the 40, the 45, midfield, and into Notre Dame territory at the 47-yard line, where the quarterback Wilson takes him down. That's a gain of 15 more, Douglas, for Bobby Humphrey.
That's his 11th carry in the ball game, and he's picked up 49 yards so far.
Joe King, Jerry Duncan, at right tackle. A strong tackle with a good block there.
Absolutely. Our offensive line's coming along, Paul. That was a great run on the part of Humphrey, too.
Haas Johnson, Joe King, the tackles. Larry Roseville, Cotton, the guards. The center is Neighbors, and behind Neighbors, here comes Bo Wright. And Bo Wright drives it inside the 40 and down to the 39-yard line and close to still another first down. Look at Jimmy Fuller over there, Doug. He's yelling for that offensive line to push him back. And Notre Dame appears to be getting a little bit tired right now.
That offensive line is beginning to take control of the scrimmage line, and that's where ball games are won or lost, and they're beginning to move the Notre Dame linemen back.
2nd and 1. Alabama at the Irish 38. Far right hash, Shula. Throws the quick hitch to Bell, the screen. He's at the 35, gets a block, and down to the 30 he goes. First down. Just a little quick flanker screen. He stands up and guns it to the boundary, and there was Bell, and they get him in the open field, and they have 9 more.
Another first down for Alabama on this drive. And moving, it seemed to be a little, well, he might be hurt. Is that 94, Griffin? Notre Dame.
Didn't see, Doug. As Shula flips the towel behind Neighbors. 1st and 10, Alabama. Less than a minute to go in the third quarter. Alabama at the Irish 30. Shula wants to throw. And he releases downfield, and it's intercepted. He overshoots Bobby Humphrey, and it's picked off by Haywood. And Haywood to the 25. The 30 has a return 35, and is run down from behind by little Greg Richardson. As the running back and the intended receiver and Humphrey, Doug, mistimed his leap at the 15-yard line, and it sailed over his head, and Mike Haywood, the senior, made the interception and the nice return of about 28 yards.
You're right. If Humphrey had jumped properly, and, you get so excited down there, you're trying to do something as quickly as you possibly can. The ball...
2 yards. 10 seconds to go. Andrzak in trouble. Starts left, comes back right. He's to the 40, loses the ball. Fumble on the field. Who has the football? Notre Dame has the football, and that's the end of the third quarter. Well, it will end on a perhaps disappointing note, for it appeared that Alabama had an excellent opportunity as Andrzak gave it up to recover it at the 38. We head to the fourth and final period. Alabama now only 15 minutes away from conquering Notre Dame for the first time in the history of the Crimson Tide program. Back in 1 minute following this network message. Alabama leading 28-10 on the Bama football. We enter the fourth and final period, Doug Layton. 28-10 our score, but Notre Dame trying to hang tough in there with Alabama, although trailing big, and Steve Berline returning to the fray for Notre Dame.
Berline goes back into the ball game. He's not as shifty a runner as Andrzak, but he is the better passer of the two. In the ball game so far, we're evened it up at 14 first downs apiece. Total offense for Notre Dame, 274 yards. For Alabama, 271. So Alabama's really come on strong here in the second half. Time of possession, 23 minutes and a second for Notre Dame, 21 minutes and 59 seconds for Alabama. In the air, 108 yards for Alabama, 163 yards for Alabama, 142 for Notre Dame. And on the ground, 108 for Alabama, 132 for Notre Dame. So all of a sudden, the statistics, game stats are leveling off here in this ball game.
Alabama defensively as we begin the fourth and final quarter. George Bethune and the All-American Cornelius Bennett, the outside linebackers, are three-down linemen. Cliff Thomas, Kurt Jarvis, and Derek Slaughter. In the middle, the linebacking tandem of Wayne Davis and Greg Gilbert. They've been all over the field this afternoon. Britton Cooper and Freddie Robinson on the corners. Freddie with the interception. And Ricky Thomas and Kermit Kendrick, the two safeties. On second down, this is Berline in trouble. Pumps, pulls it down. 40, diving forward to the 35-yard line, and Alabama says it's recovered a fumble, but the referee says no, that is a Notre Dame first down. Should be.
He's right on the marker, I believe. Yes, first down for Notre Dame. And that time, Berline scrambling a little bit. He's not as adroit as Andrzak, but he got the job done. What they're doing is they're spreading that Alabama defense out slow on a pass that all of a sudden your quarterback has the opportunity to scramble about a bit. Alabama 122 yards to Notre Dame's 48 in the third period total offense.
Fourth play of this drive for Notre Dame. It began at its 40-yard line. Now at the Alabama 36. Pump fake by Berline, throwing deep down the boundary, and he throws it 10 yards past the nearest Notre Dame player in Milt Jackson. Britton Cooper, along with Ricky Thomas, seniors both, had him double covered, and Berline was probably just getting it out of trouble.
Every time Berline pump fakes, which he has started doing here, he gets that stops the Alabama rush. They must make note that he's faked the pump fake, maybe pants, so they stop and jump up. That slows the rush down a bit with that pump fake.
Full house backfield, wishbone set. Alvin Miller spread to the far right side. Counter option, Berline pitching. And coming to the near side and rolled off at the 30-yard line, it's Tim Brown. And Brown is stopped by Randy Rockwell.
Well, just as Berline pitched it, nose guard Kurt Jarvis racked him up good. That's why he optioned the pitch back.
And it's third down for the Irish, trailing 28-10. 13 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the game.
The last time we had a third down, we saw the Berline going to the shotgun, but that's not the case this time.
Miller and Brown wide to the near side left. Wide out to the far side right. Single setback for Berline. He wants to throw. Big rush on him. Throwing down the middle of the field. And he threw it nowhere. It goes to the 15, and there is no one within 20 yards, 25 yards of the football. Well, wait, there is Miller, but he's nowhere close to it.
I don't know what happened. Berline just hung his head. He didn't know what he was doing, I suppose. But one thing is for certain, you wouldn't think Notre Dame would kick. The field goal's not going to help them. They're going to have to go for it here on fourth down.
With the play, tight end Joel Williams, Pennsylvania native, a senior, gets it to Berline, and the crowd stirs as the Irish come up to the line of scrimmage. 4th and 4, the Alabama 30. Berline, the drop, setting, being chased out of the pocket, trying to get away from Bennett. Bennett chasing him. Now he dumps it, and it's incomplete. Looking for Johnson at the 35. And that right there, Bennett chasing Berline. Very much one of the major stories this afternoon, Doug, as Alabama enjoys this big lead over Notre Dame.
The defense has really done a job. Well, we've got a timeout being taken on the field. So I guess we can take a break, too.
Did Notre Dame take that timeout?
No, it was one of those jobs.
We'll be back in 70 seconds. We pause for the 60-second network message and 10 seconds for station identification. On the Alabama leading Notre Dame 28-10. We were talking during the timeout. Doug, you're a little bit impressed with this Notre Dame defensive unit.
They are really doing a super job. I'd had an opportunity to see them a couple of times on TV. I'm more impressed than I was coming into the ball game.
Toss sweep left side. There goes Humphrey. 30. He doesn't get back to the 30. Dips outside and is wrestled down by George Streeter. Streeter, a reserve defensive back into the game. Lost 2 there. 2nd and 12. Well, you know who the Notre Dame defensive coordinator is, don't you?
That's right. The Foge Fazio, who was coach at Pittsburgh, and Lou Holtz brought him with him when he took over the reins at the Dome at South Bend. He's done a super job with them.
2nd and 12 for Alabama at its 29, leading big in the 4th quarter. The blitz is on. This is Bo Wright, and they'll stop the play. Penalty markers down.
I guess,
and perhaps a procedure call against Alabama. The clock had not expired.
Right, it's going to be the procedural call. There was movement in the Alabama offensive line, so that's about the 2nd or perhaps 3rd time that's been called in Alabama this afternoon. It'll be a 5-yard step off.
The shadows growing long, Jerry Duncan, across Legion Field right now.
Oh, boy, I tell you what, the sun has finally dropped down behind the press box, and I, for one, am very thankful.
They'll have a pretty good tan after this game. Wonder who's lost more pounds, Jerry Duncan or Kurt Jarvis this afternoon. 2nd down, 17 yards to go now. The 2-yard loss on the preceding play and the 5-yard penalty, and Alabama pushed back to the 24. They trap it in the middle, and there's Humphrey getting a couple of them back, cracking across the 25 and up to the 27, and into the arms of Wally Klein. Again, Wally Klein from Midland, Texas. I guess if your first name is Wally and you're from Midland, Texas, you grow up tough.
You really do, and in Midland, which of course is hard by Odessa, that's rough country.
He's a big guy at 6'9". A dozen minutes to go in the game. 3rd and 14. Alabama's 3 of 10 converting on 3rd down. And in motion, Humphrey, Shula, shuffle pass. Bo Wright gets a block, needs one more. Boom, gets it. He's up to the 35. Fighting forward. Oh, it'll be wrestled down at the 37-yard line. Had a chance, at least I thought so, yet he comes up 4 yards shy of the first down. Picked up 9. Bill Condit threw one of those blocks, as did the fellow running back Bobby Humphrey, but it's not enough.
Notre Dame knew that Alabama wasn't going to try anything fancy right there. You're leading 28-10 with 11 minutes to go in the ball game. You're going to keep it pretty close to your vest. That's what they did. Now they'll punt it away and let Notre Dame try it again.
Moore has kicked once in this half. It was good for 49 yards, yet Notre Dame brought it back 20 yards. He'll hit it from his 25, hit it off the side of his foot. It wobbles, running up to make the catch. Wilson at the 30, heads to the boundary, goes out of bounds 37-yard line. Just ran away from trouble there into the shade. And Notre Dame, following the 8-yard return and a 35-yard punt, has the ball 1st and 10, trailing Alabama 28-10.
That's a pretty heady move by Wilson that time, taking the punt that was not one of Chris's better punts, but then scurrying out of bounds with it, because in about 10 or 11 minutes, Notre Dame is going to need all the seconds they've got. So he's preserved some right here.
Lanza, the big senior center, wears number 51 over the football. Wears black high tops, too. Andrzak rolling right, looking to throw on the run. Lets it fly toward the boundary. He's got it. Well, no, it's incomplete at the 45-yard line. Ward thought he had drugged that foot right in front of the Alabama bench. Would have been an 8-yard gain, but no, says the line judge over there. And it'll be brought back 2nd and 10.
Yeah, he couldn't keep the foot in bounds in college, of course. One foot has to be in bounds. He just couldn't make it, and the official was right there on the spot, waved it away, incomplete. 2nd 10, Andrzak now, moving very well. He is the more mobile of the two quarterbacks of Notre Dame. He's done a super job.
2nd and 10, Notre Dame at its 37-yard line. Pair receivers to the far right side. The Irish set in the I formation. Andrzak play action. Again, the heavy rush. He steps up, lets it fly downfield, and it's incomplete. In and out of the hands of Tim Brown at the Alabama 48. Would have been a first down. It just went right through his mitts. He was in between a couple of coverages there, Doug, but was open.
It sure does. Alabama, of course, backing up, going into zone coverage, and he got in the crease, and the ball was right where you're supposed to put it from Andrzak, but he couldn't hang on. Cornelius Bennett comes back into the ball game to assist in the pass rush. Philip Brown is the other outside linebacker, 3rd and 10.
And you got Rushton in there, too, along with Willie Wyatt. Pretty good 4-man front wall, and they're all down in 3-point stances, and here they come. Play action, Andrzak stepping up, firing. First down grab. Well, it was, and now he starts back the other way, does Milt Jackson, and has to fight forward to get to midfield. He nearly surrendered the first down trying to pick up an even larger gain, but it's good for 13 yards on 3rd down, and Notre Dame holds on to the football with 10.5 minutes remaining, and Alabama leading still at 28-10.
Alabama sends fresh defensive down linemen into the ball game now, because they're really getting worn out chasing Andrzak around in the Notre Dame backfield.
Receivers both sides for Andrzak. Counter option. Looking to pitch. He does pitch. And into Alabama territory, Juan Francisco, the sophomore, Hiawatha Francisco's younger brother. Juan earns 2, and the ball is at the Alabama 48. You got Juan, D''Juan Francisco, who wears number 32, and Hiawatha, who had a stellar career at Notre Dame before being injured last year. He wears number 33. 2nd and 8 for Andrzak. They spread the field. He looks to roll right. Looking. Plenty of time. Releasing. Incomplete. 40-yard line. Looking for Alvin Miller, and he threw it behind him, and Miller just couldn't come up with it, as both Van Fries Davis and Ricky Thomas were there in double coverage.
That time, Alabama running a containment. They really wasn't putting that much pressure on Andrzak, but keeping him in the pocket, not letting him running around and pick up big yardage. And he threw the ball behind his intended receiver that time, Miller. And Miller said, "Don't do that again, because that Alabama secondary almost killed me."
Well, Andrzak and Berline have been looking at 3rd and long all afternoon. And Philip Brown comes into the game, and Alabama a bit confused as to who should leave in his place. Alabama is forced to call a timeout as Notre Dame comes up to the line of scrimmage. That's the first time this afternoon that Alabama has burned a timeout. We'll pause here as well. We'll return to Legion Field in Birmingham following the 60-second network message. Alabama 28 and the Irish 10 on the Alabama Football Network. In Legion Field, there are but 9 minutes
minutes and 40 seconds standing between Alabama and its 5th victory of the year. The second-ranked Crimson Tide in a commanding position, leading Notre Dame 28-10. Notre Dame facing 3rd and 8, 2 yards into Alabama territory at the 48-yard line. Irish must reach the Bama 40 to maintain possession.
Well, they're going to have 2 shots at it because they're not going to punt, nor will they're going to go for it on 4th down, more than likely.
Eason and Brown both wide right. High formation for Andrzak, the quarterback. He rolls right, looks to throw, releases to the boundary, and he badly overshoots Tony Eason at the Alabama 25. Boy, that one really sailed on him, Jerry Duncan. It was right in front of you.
Well, it was right in front of me, and we did a good job holding their receiver up to the line of scrimmage, Paul, and they really never had a chance on that one.
Doug surprises me here. I agreed with you. I thought that Notre Dame would go for it on 4th down, but they're going to kick it away.
If they'd have picked up a couple of 3 yards or whatever on the play, they might have, but with 9.5, you got to kick it away, I guess. However, every possession lost is closer to a loss.
Now Sorensen to kick to Richardson. A high short kick. Richardson will call for and make the fair catch at his 17-yard line, and you'll recall it was the little man in Richardson who opened the day scoring as he sprinted 66 yards for this game's first touchdown with a punt in the first quarter. Timeout on the field. 9:24 to go. We'll be back in 1 minute following these messages from your local station. It's Alabama still 28-10 over the Irish. Alabama leading Notre Dame 28-10. 9:24 to go in the game. Alabama with the football, taking over following the punt. 1st and 10 at the Alabama 17. And in motion, this is Humphrey. Shula turns, gives it to Bo Wright. And Bo maybe has a yard. Governor George C. Wallace, Doug, proclaimed today, October 4th, is Beat Notre Dame Day. And he had also issued in his proclamation a command that Alabama beat Notre Dame by more than 13 points. 13 points significant in the fact that in our 4 previous meetings with the Irish, that was the total of the margins of victory for Notre Dame in each of the 4 games.
Well, I go along with the governor.
And we're up by 18 right now. We're just following orders. This is Humphrey on the delay, the sprint draw, and he loses a couple more. Boy, he was swarmed under, and guess who it was, Doug?
Don't tell me. Klein.
Yeah, Wally himself.
Wally is a little bitty fellow at 6'9", and weighs about 275. They're agile players, and he has the pros. He's a senior, probably licking their chops.
Absolutely salivating, waiting for him to graduate. 3rd and 10. Backpedaling. Shula dumps it. This is Bo Wright in trouble. Oh, dodges a man, trying to head to the open field. And he stumbles coming across the 20, and he's up to the 21, and here comes the punting unit. Dave Butler, the outside linebacker, and Robert Banks, the tackle, ran him down.
In the second half, Notre Dame, in their possessions, has punted. They had the ball intercepted. They punted into the next possession. Then on the next possession, they turned the ball over on downs. Then the last time they had the ball, they had to punt. And now Alabama is going to give it back to them with 7:40 left and ticking.
Twin safeties for the Irish, and Jackson and Wilson standing back at the Notre Dame 40. And this is Moore to hit it from his 10. It tumbles, a very poor punt. Bounces at midfield and is downed right there. And without a return, as Willie Shepard downs it, it's a punt of only 29 yards. He didn't hit it at all.
No, he's had a couple of bad punts here in the second half.
7:25 to go in the game, and the ball resting right on the 50-yard line stripe. Alabama leading 28-10. And there is timeout on the field. We'll return to Legion Field in 1 minute following this local message on the Alabama Football Network. Notre Dame in possession. Terry Andrzak, the junior from Allen Park, Michigan, under center. He turns, rolls right, looking to throw, cranking it, firing it deep, and it's intercepted. And out of bounds, 33-yard line. Freddie Robinson for the second time this afternoon. Picked him off, read it perfectly,
And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy than Freddie Robinson. Jerry Duncan right in front of you. Andrzak trying to make up 20 yards in a hurry pays the price.
Well, it really did, and I tell you, Freddie Robinson just absolutely played the ball perfectly. He just super defensive back, super play.
Here comes Bama up to the line of scrimmage. The quarterback still in there. Mike Shula. Man in motion, Bell. Line of scrimmage to 33. Shula toss sweep. Near right side, Humphrey. Slicing through there across the 35 to the 36. George Streeter, a strong safety, a sophomore, on the stop for Notre Dame. There are a couple of fans, Doug, carrying a banner around the stadium that says, "This one's for you, Bear."
Coach Bryant, of course, led Alabama against Notre Dame 4 times, and by, as we pointed out, a margin of 13 points over 4 games. Alabama lost them all, 2 of which were for national championships.
Receivers both sides, and Richardson and Bell. Play action, Shula rolling, gets a great block, throws it downfield. What a catch at midfield by Howard Cross. Absolutely cartwheeled, and he held on to the football at the 48-yard line. The Notre Dame 48 for a first down. A remarkable catch as he goes off the field.
You know, that's something you might have thought we might see some of here is Mike Shula moving, running with the ball to throw passing because of the Notre Dame rush. It's not all that, they're not all that quick on that big lineman. They're big, but they're not too quick or fast, and Shula could get out of that containment, but that's the first time he's done it today.
The sophomore from New Hope hauling in the 15th Mike Shula completion. Big hole for Humphrey, another first down. He's fighting tacklers inside the 35. And down to the 32, but he fumbles the football. He loses the football. And free safety, Steve Lawrence, recovers for Notre Dame.
Can you believe this? Well, it's too bad. Nobody hates it any more than Bobby Humphrey, but the Tide that time really had a drive going.
Jerry Duncan, Alabama losing its second fumble of the afternoon.
I tell you, I hate to see that because our offensive unit we were really knocking. Wes Neighbors made a couple of tremendous blocks on that drive. Condon got a couple. The first time this afternoon that they probably handled Wally Klein on a one-on-one situation. I mean, they manhandled him.
And Wally he got up very slowly too, Jerry.
6 minutes to go. Alabama 28-10 over Notre Dame. The give is to Tim Brown, and Brown has to fight to just get back to the line of scrimmage. And Lou Holt has placed his third quarterback into the game. Here is Steve Bellis, a Phoenix native, a sophomore, 6'4", 197. He becomes the third Irish quarterback in this football game. Penalty marker down here. The referee coming over to the press box. And John Sophie. Signaling both sides, both Alabama and Notre Dame, offsetting personal foul penalties. Might have had a couple guys get mad at each other.
Yeah.
And the play will stand. They came after the play was over. Here is Bellis, the quarterback, his first action of the year. The sophomore, high formation, down the line option. Bellis keeps it, and Bellis is dropped by Tommy Cole along with Derek Slaughter.
Cole coming from the offside, ran him down from behind to drop him.
2 minutes and 25, 24, 23 seconds to go, or 5 minutes rather. 5:20 right now and counting. 28-10. Alabama. The Tide has dominated this football game. 3rd and 6 for Bellis and Notre Dame. The Irish 37. Bellis rolling this way. Throws on the run, and it's intercepted at the 43-yard line. You know who it is. It's Ricky Thomas.
Ricky Thomas read that one perfect. We got a flag across the way, however. And it's probably going to go against Notre Dame holding, but we're going to get that decline. That's the call, and that'll be declined by Alabama ball. Jerry Duncan, go ahead.
Well, they were holding Kurt Jarvis. About 3 of them were trying to hold him down, so fairly obvious that was a very good call.
So that is the third interception of a Notre Dame pass this afternoon by a defense that has completely owned this ball game.
Now we have 5 takeaways. Notre Dame has turned the ball over 5 times today. Alabama hasn't been perfect in that department. It's lost the ball 3 times. But here's Alabama first and 10 at the Notre Dame 42 with 5 minutes to go and the tied up 28-10. Not in motion, Humphrey. Shula. Toss sweep, short side, and fighting to the 40-yard line. It's Boatwright. Robert Banks, the tackle, stops him after a 2-yard gain.
Alabama will like very much to keep this ball and keep it on the ground. Inbounds, that'll allow the clock to keep ticking and move the yardsticks a couple of times, and this will be win number 5 for the Crimson Tide. And who would have last August said after this lineup of 5, Alabama would be undefeated.
Shula again to the second man through. This time Humphrey breaking a tackle, spinning at the 35 and down to the 34-yard line. Nearly dropped the football. Mike Kowaleski was the first guy there to make the stop. It sets up third down now and 3 yards to go for Alabama. Notre Dame's next game a week from today when the Irish host Pittsburgh. Alabama, of course, at home in Bryant-Denny Stadium next Saturday. It's homecoming. And Memphis State, our guests. At the Notre Dame 35, Shula rolling right to throw. In trouble. Gets away from one. Cannot get away from a second man in Tom Gorman, the nose guard. And he's dropped at the 42-yard line. And Alabama will punt.
For the last 4 series, Alabama has punted, and then fumbled it away a few moments ago, and now will have to punt again. But that was all after the Tide led 28-10.
Here is Moore. You recall he struggled with a 29-yarder a moment ago. Wilson deep. And here is the punt by Moore near midfield. Oh, he hangs this one very, very high. Alabama trying to down it inside the 10, and it gets out of bounds at the 2-yard line. The perfect coffin corner punt. It's feast or famine today, Doug, with Chris Moore.
It really was gorgeous. A beautiful punt. That's the old-timey type football. You nailed one in the coffin corner.
With 2:56 to go. And Alabama leading 28-10 over Notre Dame. That was a punt of 39 yards for Moore. He's kicked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 times today.
Notre Dame has not done too well in the second half. The Alabama defense has completely dominated play.
Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage. The quarterback is Andrzak. They run the belly option, and Braxton Banks, a freshman fullback, on the carry, and he's up to the 8.
I'll tell you one thing about these Notre Dame backs. You really have to tackle them because they do not go down easily. We've got an Alabama player injured on the field.
Van Trees Davis, the linebacker, shaken up there.
He's moving around a bit.
Well, timeout on the field. Alabama leading 28-10. We'll be back following the 60-second network timeout. This is the Alabama Football Network. Dr. Gabe Fernandez and the Alabama medical staff still attending to Van Trees Davis. Ray Perkins has come from the Tide sideline to check on him, too. We pause 10 seconds here to allow our stations to identify themselves. You're listening to the Alabama Football Network.
And they're moving Van Trees Davis now off the field.
Well, Douglas, when they moved around the medical team and we were able to get a good look at him, it appears it's 48 rather than number 49. Van Trees, Desmond Holloman, unfortunately, is injured there. Thought it was Van Trees. It is not. It's Desmond on the play.
All right. Well, you don't want to see that to happen to anybody.
No. And he is on the stretcher. An army of medical attendants will be going with him, and he is on his way, obviously, to the hospital. And the crowd gives him
certainly a warm ovation and heartfelt as he leaves the field on the stretcher. Puts a sobering tone on the very late stages of this game. There are but 2 minutes and 43 seconds remaining, and Alabama leads 28-10. Both teams have returned to the field, and here we go. Notre Dame up to the line of scrimmage, trying to salvage something out of what will be their third loss of the season. Quarterback is Andrzak. Down the line option. Andrzak keeps. Andrzak trying to hurdle, is caught in the air, but may have the first down at the 12-yard line. They'll mark it at the 13, and yes, that is a Notre Dame first down.
I'll tell you that those Notre Dame backs, Andrzak, one of them, they are hard runners. They are very hard to bring down.
The play being shuttled in from the sideline. Departing. Here's Joe Williams in. Dre Dumas, a flanker, checks out. Williams, both a tight end and a flanker. Notre Dame now just grinding it out of there. 2 tight ends and a full wishbone set. Less than 2 minutes to go. The clock moving. Andrzak, toss sweep. This is Francisco. Done Juan Francisco. He's at the 15. Out of bounds. 19-yard line.
He was trying to dive toward the marker, which he saw on the sideline there, but he was diving 2 yards out of bounds.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. A minute and 48 seconds remaining in the game. Surprisingly, few folks have left this stadium, Doug, despite the fact that it's been a 28-10 score since early in the third quarter.
Well, that's right. It became 28-10 almost immediately. And then Alabama has not scored since then, nor has anyone else for that matter.
Line of scrimmage, the Notre Dame 19. And the give is inside and up to the 20-yard line for Notre Dame. On the carry, that's Braxton Banks, the Hayward, California native. Alabama shuttling players, reserves in and out of the lineup. Jerry Duncan down there. We got a minute and 25 seconds to go, and this partner's going to be a nice win.
Oh, it sure is. 2 class institutions playing, and I tell you what, it's been a great game, and Notre Dame has fought all the way.
Tony Eason, wide right. Wishbone set. Andrzak keeping. 25-yard line, and down she goes. A first down for Notre Dame momentarily stops the clock. Just pushing it out of there. Notre Dame certainly doesn't want to allow Alabama another opportunity to score, and in fact, Notre Dame is intent on scoring as the Irish have called timeout. Timeout Notre Dame, 1:10 to go. Alabama leading 28-10. We'll be back following the 60-second word from your local station. Andrzak fumbling the football. Notre Dame falls on it back at the 7-yard line as he was swarmed under pressure. They're coming from all sides.
They were coming from everywhere. Craig Epps was leading the charge that time, and he's the one that first got his hands on him, but they were all kind of players back there. Lamont Russell, one of them.
All sorts of new faces, fresh faces into the game right now for Alabama. 35 seconds and counting. Notre Dame taking that timeout. And the crowd will count this one down. Alabama leading 28-10, 25, 24, 23 seconds. High formation. Andrzak throwing. The shuffle pass. Nowhere to run for Notre Dame. And
we got a late hit.
Banks. A late hit there, Doug, right? Penalty marker down.
Yeah, we had a late hit by Alabama. I don't have the charts of who is in the play. So number 71 was the one, but I don't know who that is.
Now, we do not have a 71 on anything that we've got. Stick around here and see what we got. Yeah, we do. Steve Turner. Okay. Steve, sorry to do you wrong there.
And a 15-yard penalty for hitting late. He's just so excited about being in the ball game. Those things happen.
A 71 hasn't been worn too many times this year in the heat of battle. 15 seconds to go. This may do it. 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. They march it out to the 24 and Andrzak. Well, rather Bellis now rolling right. Bellis, the third-string quarterback. He'll run up to the 35, the 40 coming this way. Down he goes there. 4, 3, 2, headed out toward the center of the field. They have to stop it for the automatic first down, and now the clock will begin to run again. Here's 2 and 1, and this one is over. Alabama, for the first time ever, has conquered Notre Dame. Your final score from sold-out Legion Field in Birmingham. Alabama 28, Notre Dame 10. The second-ranked Crimson Tide now at 5-0, and Notre Dame falls to 1-3. Our post-game report follows this 90-second network message. This has been the Alabama Football Network.